They think an orthographic view is like a representation of what you see straight on. No, wait, they just don't think, do they?
No. The perspective view is what you see when you're straight on. They're like, nobody sees an orthographic view. We didn't claim you see in that. It's just a way to do stations for it, to envision them.
Alejandro Vallejo, 50MX, says, I studied art in college, so I know perspective and I understand science better than any flurf because, well, I took high school science classes. Yeah, that's better than much better than any flurf. Sea Lion Prime says, Mr. Slave wants to debate me on Aether. Well, Mr. Slave knows my email. And if he doesn't, could one of my mods please dump my email so Mr. Slave can send me an email and come in and debate me on a non-existent thing? Icy Spin 199 says, best way to illustrate circumpolar star rotations? What, you want me to tell you the best way to illustrate that? Or is he saying an orthographic view is?
You get a P1000 because that's the only camera that counts to them. And it's got a star trail mode. And you go south of the equator at night and you point it at the due south. And then press the go button. And then you come back in half an hour, 2 hours. There you go.
That involves counting.
No, there's no counting. But it might involve focusing, which is a problem.
Yeah.
You really struggle with focus. So what you do is Flatties, hold on. I mean, there's a thing on the back of the camera. You flip it from manual focus, from autofocus to manual focus, AF to MF. So just so you know, Flatties, if it says AF, that doesn't mean like it's cool AF. That's not what it means.
No.
It means autofocus. You flip that from AF to MF. And MF does not mean
motherfucker.
Doesn't mean that. That's not what it means.
Definitely does.
It's manual focus. And then there's a focus ring. I got it right here. I got Hold on. Let me put it right there. There it is. Can you see it?
Yes.
I gotta see.
It's hung. It's well hung. It's a well hung camera.
This right here is the focus ring when it's on manual focus mode. There you go. Yes, I have a well hung camera right there. But all right, let's go back out of the way. There you go.
So, Toon, I discovered some new things about science earlier whilst debating a flurf.
Yes.
Apparently, unless you use SI units, then it's not science.
Binary
SI units,
right?
Yeah. I'm not really sure what that is, but unless I use them,
what the hell?
It's not science.
Binary. So in the chat, maybe somebody in the chat knows what are binary SI units.
Yeah. And apparently, unless you have a measurement with numbers, it's also not science.
And I've heard the exact opposite from flat earthers. Arwen, all the Oakley crew, Whitsitt, all say that there's no math in science, that the only way to do things is that there's no measurement, there's no numbers. It's only the observation.
It's amazing. I'm learning all these new things. It's incredible. Fletcher Boy 199 says, nuh-uh is a scientific response for flirts. Yeah, they seem to think that is how to defeat science, by going no. It's brilliant. Tony Regime, who's been a member for 10 months, says the scientific method needs a container. Yes, everything needs a container, especially spectroscopy. Thank you very much for being a member, Tony Regime. Guys, if you would like to become a member during this stream, you can do so to torture me, because every time a new member comes, that timer goes up by 3 minutes. Currently, we're at 5 hours 36. I've been going, and it's 4 hours and 22 to go. You can keep that timer going up every time a new membership is added. You can either love me or hate me in the same way.
So tomorrow, just tomorrow, I'm gonna do a live stream and you're gonna just play mine while you sleep, right?
As long as I'm still going, yes.
Okay. Keep them going, guys. 24 hours from now, I'm doing a live stream and Craig's sleeping. So
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
So anyway, I will be doing a live stream on starting with a guy that thinks that he did celestial navigation using flat Earth.
Amazing. I
Did
can't
he?
wait.
Did he? No spoilers. No spoilers, people.
Well, I'm going to give him a spoiler. No, he didn't.
How did you? Don't. How? You weren't supposed to tell him.
Oh, I
Anyway,
love it.
that's what's tomorrow. What I'm gonna do now is I'm going to pop out and let you continue on this.
Well, we have Mr. Slave who wants to come in and talk to me about aether.
Does he?
Apparently so. Let's
email you.
Yeah, he has. He's written a paper about how aether solves Einstein's second postulate that the speed of light is constant. Wait, how do you solve a postulate?
What? So Lawrence and Fitzgerald tried to do that exact thing in the late 1800s by suggesting that the ether physically compressed the Earth as the Earth moved through the ether.
Yeah,
right?
Length contraction without actual length contraction.
It mushed the actual length, real.
Instead of
Physically,
relativity.
Earth got smushed. But when people are like, oh, okay, that's an interesting hypothesis. That's what it is. And they said, but why would a sponge get compressed just as much as a hunk of steel? People are like, oh yeah, that doesn't make sense. How could both of them with very different physical properties get squished the same amount? It doesn't make sense. Yeah, that doesn't really. Let's think about some other ideas maybe. So
yeah, no, none of that makes any sense. Yeah, Mr. Slave, you're welcome to come in. I'm happy to talk through your paper with me.
Send him an email, Mr. Slave.
No,
and then what will happen is an email will come. Oh, you already got it?
Yeah. That's he sent me his papers. Yeah, so I'm just sending him this link.
Oh, forward me the papers. I need a laugh.
I will forward this email to you. What's the email? MC-Tune.
My email address is mctune@mctune.net.
Oh, there you go. I've just sent you those two papers. Have fun. Well, Mr. Slave, you are welcome to come in. I have sent you the link. Yeah, let's have a talk about how you're trying to do things that they proved wasn't possible over 100 years ago. It's like they're
Proof
behind in
of
science.
Einstein's special relativity second postulate.
Well, that's not very long, is it?
Wow. Rubber ducky? You're the one?
This is...
You make bath time lots of fun?
This is very interesting so far. The proof of Einstein's special relativity second postulate contains figures of ducks in a bath. Interesting.
Yeah, hold on. Let me read the paper here. Well, here I am in the tubby again, and my tubby is all filled with water and nice fluffy suds. And I've got my soap and washcloth to wash myself, and I've got my nifty scrub brush to help me scrub my back. And I've got a big fluffy towel to dry myself when I'm done, but there's one thing that makes tubby time the very best time of the whole day. And you know what that is? It's a very special friend of mine, my very favorite little pal. Oh, Rubber Ducky, you're the one. You make bath time lots of fun. Rubber Ducky, I'm awfully fond of you. That's an interesting paper.
Yeah, I've never read an abstract quite like that before.
Wow. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to that.
Well, I've sent him the link to join. But yeah, as a paper, it's interesting, and we can definitely go through it together.
Yeah. And ether flux theory to explain gravity.
Aether flux theory to explain gravity.
That's the other one. Why does an
Gravitational
apple
aether
fall from the
fluid flows
tree
through an apple
and accelerate toward the ground? Why does the moon orbit the Earth? Is in this paper we'll propose a new interpretation of general relativity to explain gravity. We posit that the universe is completely filled with an incompressible fluid. The fluid is pressurized by constant fluid creation, aka dark energy. Oh, magic. Constant fluid creation, aka dark energy. He just borrowed a term from something else and then assigned magic to it and said that's what it does. This fluid annihilates upon contact with massive bodies, creating a low fluid pressure.
Yeah, is my audio better? Fantastic. How are you? That's amazing. So yeah, do you have any questions about my two papers? This is like just the beginning. There's many more papers in the pipeline. All right. What are you more? All right. So yeah, that's good. The proof of the second postulate is the most fun. I would say is the most foundational. So basically, if you assume ether, you automatically get special relativity, whether you like it or not. So special relativity, it's actually just wave dynamics. So if you assume an ether fluid filling the universe, that is the medium through which light travels, that light waves as per Maxwell, then immediately you get special relativity. Anyway, so in this paper, if we assume ether, we get the constancy of the speed of light. So Einstein and everyone else assumes a constant speed of light as a some cosmic law of nature. I don't. I don't know. I don't know what that means. Okay, Einstein says it's a postulate. He doesn't say that. No, it's an assumption and like an axiom. It's like a, I don't know. Okay. Anyway, but it's an assumption or as it's fine. It's it's fine. It right. But if you assume ether, if you assume that the universe is filled with a fluid through which light is waving, then and if you assume that everything works based on this wave, meaning our brains, all the particles in the universe are waving through this fluid. So you're observing a wave, or you're measuring the speed of a wave, but all your instruments and all your clocks are based on this waving through this fluid. So as we go through this paper, we'll see how you must observe a constant speed of light. So let's just scroll through the images. What do you mean? You can prove Einstein, you can prove the speed of light must be a constant? No. 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 So if you assume ether, then you get a constant speed of light as a result, because your clock ticks, the tick tocks of your clock, of any clock, your brain, your consciousness, any mechanical clock.
Okay, so why must we assume that speed of light is constant in the network?
No. That's the point. We don't need to assume the speed of the speed. This is true. We'll prove it for the rubber ducky. The speed of any wave is a constant speed if the clock you're using is based on that wave. So when you measure the speed of light, you're using clocks to measure the speed, right? The definition of speed is distance divided by time. So let's say you're always measuring a constant distance. Let's say you have a meter stick that you're holding. That's always a constant size, like 1 meter. And then you're using light. You're giving light time to travel from one end to the other. And you're measuring, well, how much time did it take light to travel over a 1 meter stick? So, but the clock that you're using, it waves in the ether. And if you're moving, the faster you move.
That sentence you just said made no sense at all. The clock you are using waves in the ether.
Yes.
Those are definitely words in the English language, but together they did not make a coherent sentence.
Wave is a verb.
I'm aware of that, but all those words together that you just made into a line of words did not form a coherent sentence.
Okay, let's go through the figures quickly, and then we'll talk as we're going through the figures. So this is a bathtub. So it's an empty it's like it's a top view of bathtub. That's figure 1.1. Let's go to 1.2. So in 1.2, we're introducing the green rectangle. It's a top view of a rubber ducky. It's a simplified rubber ducky. Let's go to 1.3. No, yeah, it's a simplified rubber ducky. It's a very simple, but look, okay, I'll explain later why it's important for it to be a rubber ducky. Anyway, now in the rubber ducky, we have two tiny rectangles, two green rectangles. The top one is, well, this is a clock. These two rectangles, they represent a clock. Let's go to 1.4. So 1.4, so the top, now we realize how the clock works. The top is called it's the tick initiator. The top rectangle initiates a wave. It just it taps the water and creates a wave. So let's go to the next figure, 1.5. In 1.5, this wave has, right, at t equals 1, it was a tiny wave. T equals 2, 3, 4. At t equals 5, the tick detector has detected the wave that the top emitter emitted. Right? So far, so good. It's very simple, right? Okay, 1.6. So 1.6, what we see is the bottom. Now the detector has now become itself an emitter, right? We're gonna tick tock. This clock, the way it works, it sends a tick signal to the bottom, and the bottom gets it, and then sends an acknowledgement talk signal to the top. And again, in 1.7, we see that the talk signal, the talk wave, has reached the top emitter. Now it's also a detector. So each one is an emitter and a detector, and they switch roles. They ping pong waves between each other, and that's the clock. So far, so good. All right, that's 1.7. Let's go to the next one. Okay, 1.8. And then the cycle continues. Now let's go to 2.1. Now in 2.1, the rubber ducky is going to start moving through the bathtub. We're going to move. Yeah. There's right. It's yes. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. We're moving to the right. We're moving the rubber ducky to the right. Let's go to 2.2. In 2.2, we're restarting the clock. So the top emitter is now going to emit a signal, a wave, while the rubber ducky is moving. Let's go to 2.3. So in 2.3, this is now, here you see time dilation. You see that the rubber ducky is experiencing time dilation. So this is a hint. Yeah, because the tick tock has now slowed down, right? We, as the outside observers, we notice that the tick tocking as the rubber ducky is moving must be slowing down as the rubber ducky is moving through.
So none of this is demonstrating that light, in speed of light, is aether or anything. This is just it's kind of explaining how relativity works by using a medium, but you don't need a medium for light. So I'm not really sure where you're going with this.
Oh, so the rubber ducky is measuring the velocity of waves in the bathtub, and it must.
Velocity that's been measured. Velocity is something that has a figure behind it, figures.
Right. It doesn't matter. Whatever the number was, it's going to cancel out. So it doesn't show up in the calculation. So there is no calculation. The proof doesn't need a calculation.
Well, proof doesn't calculate the proof in science. There is no such thing. You just have maps. There's no maps here. You just kind of said a bunch of stuff. But carry on. One thing I'm really noticing is that you kind of just stated your conclusion without giving any evidence for the conclusion. But I've got a video which can explain all this for you. It's very, very easy.
I mean, I didn't finish.
Yeah, no, carry on. We're 2.4.
No. We didn't finish the previous slide.
Yeah, we did.
No. So the point is that the fact that there is time dilation, that's very nice. That's not the point of this paper. I mean, you get time dilation by assuming ether. So you get special.
No assumption of ether here. Yeah, you don't need that.
No. If we assume ether, if we assume that we are like the rubber ducky, that we are submerged in a fluid like the rubber ducky, if we assume, well, again, if we assume, and we can discuss,
Why would we assume something that's been disproven?
we can discuss why according to special relativity, Michelson and Morley should have received a null result. Why an interferometer can never detect the motion through the velocity of the ether.
Well, no, that's exactly what it should have done if it wasn't.
Anyway, we can come back to discussing why they got a null result. Wait, we didn't finish here. So we can come back. We can come back and discuss why they received a null result. But if we assume ether, then wait, what's happening? So if we assume ether, if we assume that we are like the rubber ducky, then we get special relativity just from assuming that there is an ether in the universe. Just by assuming there is an ether in the universe, we automatically get special relativity. We get time dilation. But that's not the point of this paper. The point of this paper. Wait, what do you mean we don't?
You don't automatically get special relativity. Special relativity doesn't have a ether there, which is
Okay, so if let's so again, you see. Wait, are you, what's a, what? Why don't you ask me questions if you have a question? Yes, go ahead. What's your critique? Wait, can I ask you where where are you reading from? Where are you reading from? Okay, so what's the point of you running through? Let's go like one by one. All right.
And for the philosophical interpretation,
Yeah, let's go one by one, point by point. So start from the first point. But I didn't finish my presentation, but go ahead, start from the first point. Okay. Yeah. Let's maybe. Let's hear your. Mhm. Oh, you didn't tell me there's something playing. I didn't hear anything. I can't hear anything. I'm still waiting. You know that, right? Um, I'm just making sure that you know that nothing is playing. It's like, can you hear me? Hello?
Apart. Are you hearing that when I play it or not?
I can't hear anything on Zoom. I can hear you, but I don't see a video on Zoom. Am I missing something? I can try and watch it on the channel.
Yes, I can hear you.
Nothing is playing. It's like,
That's what I'm asking you. Did you?
I see it and I saw it before, but I couldn't hear anything. Look, but we can read Einstein's original paper if you want.
I completely solved the problem.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So there we go. Just watch this video and it explains everything for you.
Okay.
I completely solved the problem. What are you talking about? Close your eyes. Pretend you're overlooking a train track. Imagine a train racing past, faster than any train you've ever seen. Now I want you to imagine as the train past, two lightning bolts crashing beyond the tracks at the same time, 100 meters apart. Did you hear what I was playing? Yes. So what? Patience. Now imagine that you're standing.
Yeah, I can hear.
Exact same scenario. Would the lightning bolts be simultaneous? Of course. Not if light moves at one speed. Close your eyes. If this is ridiculous, put yourself back on the moving train and really think about it. Do it, Michele. Now watch the lightning bolts. Were they simultaneous to you? No. Because you were moving towards one and away from the other. To me, standing still, they were simultaneous. How could the two of us experience the same event differently? We couldn't. Unless it's not Maxwell who gets it between the eyes. It's Newton. What are you saying? Time is not absolute. I'm writing the paper, Michele. I wanted them to ignore it. Now, I wonder, you just stop it. I wonder if you understand the significance of what I've just showed. What is
Um,
of what I've just shown you and why it debunks everything that you've said.
Why does it debunk it? I mean, he didn't say that the speed of light is a constant, and he didn't give the reason why.
It explained exactly that the speed of light moves at one speed. The speed of light is constant. That was his entire point.
Why is it a constant?
Speed of light, because it is. That's
Why? Why? But why? What's the mechanical reason?
The mechanical reason is a alternating field of magnetic and electrical signals that alternate from each other. Magnetic and electrical waves that alternate off each other, which self-propel electromagnetic waves at a constant speed. It's a mechanical reason why it happens, and it's verified, right? And the fact that speed of light is constant allows us to see things differently to other things that are moving, as it's explained. It's nothing to do with the medium that you're in, because light does not require a medium to travel. Assuming an aether goes against everything of special relativity, so you don't get special relativity by assuming an aether. That's the opposite.
Look, Einstein says that the speed of light is a constant he presents it as a postulate, meaning he doesn't give a reason. Okay, but Einstein, you agree that Einstein presents the constancy of the speed of light as a postulate, meaning he doesn't. Yeah. Okay. You agree that Einstein presents the speed of light as a constant, as a postulate, meaning he. No. Could you just let me finish the sentence once, please? So, with your permission, I'll repeat the sentence again. Please don't cut me off again. So, I'll say it again. So, Einstein presents the constancy of the speed of light as a postulate, meaning he does not give a reason why the speed of light is a constant. Do you agree? Okay. I've just given you one, so it's irrelevant. Why does he present it as a postulate? Because he didn't know the reason that light traveled at constant speed. It was just a postulate of special relativity, a consequence of the observations and the maths that he'd done. He didn't present a reason as to why, specifically, light has a constant speed. Doesn't matter that he didn't have an answer for that. We now know why light has a constant speed because of the mechanical properties of an electromagnetic wave. What changed since 1905 in our knowledge of? We advanced in our knowledge and we've done studies and studied light a lot. It's been over 100 years since the theory of special relativity was put forward, and we've done a lot of advancement and been able to determine why the speed of light is what it is. Okay, so what trying to disprove an over 100-year-old paper whilst ignoring the succeeding 100+ years of science that have come. No, I'm not trying to disprove. I'm not trying to disprove special relativity. I'm just. Because you're trying to introduce an aether which would disprove special relativity. No. Ether. You get special relativity from ether. That's You don't. Special relativity and ether are mutually exclusive. You can see in the diagrams, if you pull up the diagrams, these diagrams are already. That's just a function of the mechanical wave or properties of water. Does not change anything about how special relativity works, and does not say that we have to have an aether. The fact is, light does not need a medium to propagate. This has been proven. Okay. But if we assume ether, and why would you think that when it's been disproven? Okay, look, if we assume ether, if we assume. Well, we can go through. Fine. I mean, what's your evidence that it's been disproven? Namely, giving. Experiments, Mugson Morley, Mugson Gale, Mugson Scale, the Brackhound-Rector experiment, the Edison experiment of 1919, or the subsequent repeats of that experiment. Infinite parts of science that have studied and confirmed special relativity. So I'm confirming special relativity. I don't have. No, you're not, because aether is not part of special relativity. You are going against the fundamental principles of special relativity. No, ether. Look, if you pull up the diagram shows. We've looked at the diagrams, but light does not travel through a medium. Therefore, the diagrams are irrelevant. Because in your diagrams, you label things like velocity with no velocity. That's direction. Like everything about this paper is a mess. Nothing about it. There's no data. There's no experiments. It is literally just random thoughts put on a page. Right? It offers an interesting philosophical perspective on the nature of measurements and constants in physics, but would benefit from a clearer distinction between analogical reasoning and empirical validation. The real strength of special relativity lies not only in its mathematical formulation, but in its extensive experimental confirmation. Cool. Did you ask me if that's cool? Um, what do you mean? What do you? I mean,
Is it cool? You understand? You get it?
I mean, I.
If you present this as a paper to any educational facility, they'd laugh or they'd cry because they failed you.
Okay, so I feel like I mean, I feel that you're, I would say, a little bit bullying, and you're not letting me.
I'm not bullying you. I'm pointing out how ridiculous your interpretations are and the fact that you're ignoring over 100 years of science.
So I feel like I'm being silenced. You're barely letting me complete whole sentences. Um,
So
well, and I need to repeat myself, and you never let me complete almost a single thought. You didn't let me. You didn't.
we know what your thoughts are. We know where they're going. We can tell before you because we're smart. I know everything that you were going to say. I knew in advance the things that you were going to say. I pre-prepared a debunk. It doesn't matter. Everything you are saying is wrong, and all you're doing is going nuh-uh and ignoring the facts. The fact is, there's been over 100 years of scientific advancement and experimentation that have validated special relativity and the lack of an aether. You just ignore this in this paper. This is barely a paper. In fact, this does not qualify as a paper of any kind.
Okay, you're repeating yourself while not letting me complete a single sentence. That's I like you're just silent.
Don't respond to the things that I say, that's fine. If you were actually responding to the things I'd say, then I'd be okay. But what you're doing is you're listening to what I'm saying, and then you're just talking instead of responding to the things that I am saying.
Okay, so are you going to let me talk? Are you going to let me express a thought?
The things I say, yes. If you just start to repeat yourself, I will bring you back to the conversation and ask you to answer the questions that I have put to you. The question is, why are you ignoring over 100 years of science? Please answer that question.
I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm not. I'm look. I'm completely.
I will tell you what I'm talking about. I am talking about the 100+ years of experimental validation of special relativity and the lack of the aether. Why are you ignoring those?
Okay, look. I would like you. Oh, my battery. So I would like you, if it's not, if I'm not asking for too much, I would like you to de-escalate. Because you're.
No, I'm sorry, I'm fine. I'm not triggered. I am simply asking you one question, and you seem to not being able to answer. The question, in case you missed it, is why are you ignoring over 100 years of experimental validation of special relativity and the lack of aether? That's the question. Could you please address the question?
Okay, so look, these are two separate questions. So question number one, let's separate. Let's
One question.
let's separate.
Why are you ignoring over 100 years of experimental validation of special relativity and the lack of aether? That's one question. Please just respond to that one question.
So if you don't mind, I would rather you not repeat a single question so many times. Like I and
Answer the question. I don't have to.
while simultaneously not allowing me to complete.
I'm just asking you to answer the question. Every time you don't answer the question, I'm going to repeat the question. The question, in case you've missed it, is why are you ignoring over 100 years of experimental validation, special relativity, and the lack of aether? Please respond to the question. Don't say anything else.
The question is malformed.
No, it's not. The question is perfectly formed. Stop avoiding the question and answer the question.
I
Once again, the question is, why are you ignoring over 100 years of experimental validation of special relativity and a lack of aether?
why are you getting so upset?
I'm not upset in the slightest. I am asking you a question. I'm talking to you very much like I would to my child when they don't listen to what I am saying.
Then you're an abusive parent.
Oh, well, sorry, I'm abusive because I would like my child to respond to questions and do things properly. Have I shouted at you? No. That's not being abusive.
What I am doing is putting in place rules and conditions for conversations, which is what a good parent would do to their child. And the fact that I have to treat you like a child is embarrassing for you. I have to repeat a question which you're refusing to answer. It is a one very simple question. It's not malformed. It is perfectly formed. Why are you ignoring over 100 years of experimental validation of general relativity and a lack of aether?
Look, I'm uncomfortable having this discussion, so I'd like you to please stop bullying me. Look, I'm
I'm not putting you in the slightest, my friend. I'm being very calm and polite and asking you nicely to answer a question. Could you please stop playing the victim card and just do that?
no, I can't. No. I'm not here to be.
Don't play the victim card. That's what you want to do, is it?
Look, I'm unwilling to be abused. The fact that maybe you.
I'm not being abused. I'm asking you very nicely. I'm being very polite. I'm even going to say please this time. Please, could you please answer my question? My question, which I would please like you to answer, is why are you ignoring 100 plus years of experimental validation of general relativity and lack of aether? Please, politely, could you answer my question? Thank you.
You're not. You're pretending to be polite, but you're bullying. You're using your channel.
I'm being extremely polite and calm because I've asked you just a simple question. What you are doing is being rude by refusing to answer a question.
Look, you just have a platform.
Fundamental conversation. I don't really care about the meta conversation. I would simply like you to answer the question that I've put to you because it's very important and relevant to the paper you're presenting and the conversation we are having. Could you please answer the question as to why, in the paper you're presenting, you've ignored 100 plus years of science?
So before I can engage in a conversation, I need the conversation to be calm. I need to feel.
Conversation is perfectly calm, and I am simply to answer a question. I am setting the rules for this conversation. Unfortunately, you seem to be somebody that needs rules enforced. The rule of this conversation is I will ask a question, you will respond to the question. I don't care about the meta conversation. I don't care about your feelings about you're being bullied or being abused. That is irrelevant to me. This is a polite, pleasant conversation where I'm asking you nicely to answer a question. Please stop playing the victim. Please stop crying about not being able to speak because I'm giving you a chance to speak now, in which I would like you to respond to the question I have posed.
I will not have a conversation in which I'm being bullied.
Are you unable to? You're not being bullied. I am asking you a question. There's no bullying involved in that. There's no bullying involved at all in asking a question to continue a conversation. It's a simple question. A question that relates to the people you're presenting in the conversation we are having. A question which, and answer, this conversation isn't able to go forward because it's very important to the context of this conversation that we are having. You need to know why you decided to ignore over 100 years of science when you wrote this paper. It's very important to the conversation. Could you please explain to me?
So I am trying to explain to you that first of all, your question.
I don't want you to explain anything to me. Just answer the question.
So there's two questions here. There's a question.
One question. There's one question. The one question is why are you ignoring 100 years of science which experimentally validated general relativity and the lack of aether? Yes, that's two things that the one question is asking about. It's simple. Why are you ignoring those 100 years of science? Those 100 years of science which did both validating special relativity and proving that the aether is not a thing. Why did you ignore that 100 plus years of science?
Okay, so you're asking two separate questions. Why don't you?
I'm asking one question. Just answer the one question. Why are you ignoring the 100 years?
So look, let me ask you a question. Let's.
So you don't need to ask me a question to answer mine, I'm afraid. I've been very polite and pleasant, and at this point, I am being extremely patient with you. If you want me to stop being patient and treat you like FTFE, then that is fine. But I am asking you very, very nicely, in the nicest, politest, calmest way that I possibly can, if you, sir, could please respond to the question that I have put to you. It's a very simple question as to why you're ignoring over 100 years of science. If you could kindly, please, sir, respond to that question.
I am here to have a conversation. So if you want to have a.
I've just conversation would require you to answer that question.
No, in a conversation, sometimes you ask.
I don't want a meta conversation. That's irrelevant. I would just like the conversation to continue. Now, once you have answered my question, then the conversation can continue. But until you answer that question, it's impossible to continue this conversation because it is the crux of this conversation. It is the extremely important focus of this entire conversation. The extremely important thing we're trying to get across is that you have ignored over 100 years of science, and I just want to know why you've done it.
So before we can engage in the topic that you
Could you stop with the meta conversation and just respond to my question, please?
no. So in order to have a
Okay, well, I'll just mute you and I'll continue without you. If you're unwilling to have a conversation, then I don't know what to do. The conversation requires you to answer questions that are put to you, and then I will do the same. But what you're doing right now is acting like a little child and refusing to engage in the conversation. I have asked you politely, many times, with a please and a thank you, with much patience in my voice, to simply answer the question that I have put to you. If you are unable to do that, then state that you are unable to do it and we can move on. Otherwise, answer the question.
look. You need to allow me to converse with you.
Again, to converse with me, that means you have to answer my question. I am trying to converse with you, my friend. I am trying my hardest, and I am trying with patience and respect. Okay? I am literally trying to converse with you. But to converse, that requires you to respond to my inquiry. Okay? We cannot converse if you are not going to do that. If you're going to ignore my question and talk about other things, then we cannot converse. So please, again, with the most respect, could you politely respond to the question that I have put to you? Not anything else. I don't want to talk about a meta conversation about how you feel like you're being silent. I will stop interrupting you once you have responded to my question. Please respond to the question.
I'm not here to answer questions. I'm here to have a conversation.
Yeah, conversation requires answering questions. You have one more chance.
Um,
If you're unable to have a conversation like an adult, which requires answering questions, you can't have a conversation if you don't answer questions. If you're unable to do that, I will remove you from the call and everyone would laugh.
you can bully your children. You cannot bully me.
I'm not bullying anyone. I am simply asking you to respond to a question. Bullying would be shouting at you and berating you, but I am not. I am asking you very, very nicely, just like I would if my child refused to vacuum the floor when I asked them. I would keep asking them, and I would ask them politely. I would not listen to them with their excuses. I would ask them until they did the thing that I have asked them to do, because that is what a good parent would do. Right now, I am trying to help you and teach you how conversations work. One of the most important things in conversations is that you actually respond to inquiries put forward by the other person. I am unable to have a conversation with you if you do not answer my questions. All I am asking is that you answer my questions and then the conversation can continue. I have asked you very nicely. I have been polite and I have not bullied you. I have been very, very patient with you. In fact, you are being very disrespectful and rude by not answering my question.
Okay, look, you're. I feel very uncomfortable.
I'm sure you do. You don't like having your ideas challenged. That's great. I've been very nice to you. There's no reason for you to feel uncomfortable in the way that I'm talking to you because I'm being very pleasant. All I want is for you to be an adult and have a conversation like an adult and respond to the question I put forward to you.
Look, I'm not enjoying this conversation.
That's kind of a you talk.
No, I mean, I'm here to, wherever, whatever I'm doing, my topmost priority is to enjoy myself. That's before anything else. So it's important.
You're not enjoying it because if you responded to the question, then maybe that you could enjoy it and we could continue the conversation. But right now, you are stopping yourself enjoying this conversation by refusing to engage.
Look, I'm just trying to I'm trying to calm myself down, and I'm trying to de-escalate.
Calm yourself. A great way to calm yourself down would be to answer the question. And Dick Wayne, on my show, in a conversation, I will demand that he answers the question. And the fact that I've been very polite and pleasant about it shows that you have a temper problem.
Anyway, look, look, my.
You're unable to answer the question. I accept you can't answer the question. All right, I accept you don't know the answer. That's fine. Okay, that's cool. You don't know the answer. You're not intelligent enough to have the answer. That's cool. All right. So what would be the next question that you have?
Look, I don't want to continue being bullied. So
No one's bullying you here. Nobody's bullying you. I've spoken to you very politely and very calmly and stated the fact that you are not very intelligent. That's not bullying. That's just a factual thing. I'm sorry, but people that aren't smart need to be told that. Not bullying to tell you a fact. Please stop saying that you're being bullied because you're not.
well,
I wouldn't have said please so many times. The problem is that you're playing a victim card.
I feel bullied, and
That's kind of a you problem.
yes.
Not
Well, I'm having a problem. So if
yes,
you,
you are having a problem. Yeah, you don't know how to converse like an adult. That's the problem you're having. Yes.
that's not nice of you to say. Please stop saying that.
It's the fact that you don't know how to converse like an adult.
That's not nice. Please stop being mean.
I'm not being mean. I am stating a fact to you that you do not know how to converse like an adult. That's not being mean. Stating facts isn't mean.
Okay, look, you're trying to hurt my feelings. Please stop it.
I'm not. I'm stating a fact. You don't know how to converse like an adult.
All right. Anyway, look, you're not being nice, and before I can have a conversation about anything, before that I need my, whoever I'm speaking to, my counterparty, I need them to be nice. That's before.
Well, I've been perfectly nice. I've said please. I've said thank you. I've been polite and pleasant and simply asked you in the nicest way possible to respond to my question. I haven't been nasty.
To me,
All of that, I've stated facts that you don't seem to be a very intelligent person. You don't understand science. These are not nasty things. These are just statements of fact. Another statement of fact is that you seem to be unaware how to converse like an adult. Again, I'm not being mean. These are things that you need to be aware of, my friend.
I'd like to ask you again to please stop hurting my feelings. Look,
Honestly, I don't care about your feelings. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I'm just stating facts. The fact is, you do not know how to converse like an adult and don't appear to be a very intelligent person.
what is the
It's nothing to do with your feelings.
what
It's
is
fact.
what is what is the purpose of you having this conversation with me right now? What is your purpose? What would you like to achieve?
I would like to teach you that everything that you have said is wrong. Also, that one of the purposes that people watching it can see how not to be stupid.
Okay, so the first thing is you would like to show me that I'm wrong, right?
Well, I've already done that. You just ignored it.
All right. Okay. And the second reason you said you want people watching to know or to learn how to not to be stupid?
Yes, yeah, that's the main purpose of my account is that people watching it get to see stupid people be stupid and know how to not be like that.
So do you realize how that potentially could hurt my feelings?
That your feelings are irrelevant to me.
So you agree that you might be bullying me and you don't.
Stating facts is not bullying you. I am not doing anything with an intention of hurting you.
But if you know that I'm in pain right now, would
I'm sorry, but that's something you need to deal with, dude. The fact if you're in pain because of a simple conversation, that's kind of your problem. It's not my fault that you don't like facts and you are hurt by the fact that you're not smart and don't know how to converse like an adult. It's not my problem that you are hurt by those facts. The fact that you are hurt by those facts should make you think to yourself, oh shit, that's bad. Not try and attack me for pointing out facts that hurt your feelings. I'm not being mean to you. I am stating facts. It's not my problem that those facts are hurting your feelings.
But if you know that I'm in pain, why would you continue?
You're the one choosing to be here. You can leave at any time.
Hmm.
I'm not going to change the facts. I'm not going to lie to you to make you feel better.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the wrong thing to do. Even if it hurts your feelings, I'm going to tell you the truth. Which is exactly what I do to my kids. Because my kids need to know the truth.
Mm-hmm. Is it your
I'm not being mean to you. I am telling you the truth. The fact that the truth hurts you is a you problem.
okay? Would you prefer for me to leave? What's your
No, I prefer to answer my question.
okay? Okay. Look, I would love.
I've asked you nicely several times.
Sure.
You refuse to engage like an adult and respond to the question.
Look, I would love more than anything to have a deep conversation about the facts and about your questions. I would.
Then just answer the question. Why are you ignoring 100 years of science?
Okay, so I'm not ignoring 100 years of science. I'm completely on board with everything science says. I don't disagree with science on anything.
There's no aether. So,
Okay, which science? Let's go one by one. Name.
all of science
Okay,
says
one. Fine, fine. Just let's go one by one. Which science says there's no ether?
the experiment disproved aether.
Okay. Oh, 1 second, 1 second. So Michelson and Morley, I was just on a show with Sea Line and we went through this. So Michelson and Morley assumed an ether wind of 30 kilometers a second. So
Assuming that's what if the Earth is traveling through the aether, that's what you should get. Yes.
right, but my ether is different. So
Your aether is just magical.
no, my ether.
Would your ether not be affected by the movement of the Earth through it?
Let me explain. So my ether, besides being luminiferous, is also Newtonian gravitational or general relativity compliant. Excuse me? It can't be both what?
No.
No what?
It can have aether and be general relativity and Newtonian compliant. They're mutually exclusive things.
Okay, so let's go one by one. So
The fact is, the Michelson-Morley experiment disproved the aether.
okay. Okay, the Michelson and Morley experiment, you could say, and I might agree, disproves an ether wind of 30 kilometers.
It disproved any aether.
No. Hold on. Michelson and Morley set out to measure the velocity of the ether, assuming
Set out to measure the velocity of the Earth through the aether.
exactly.
Not the velocity of the aether. There was no assumption the aether was moving. The assumption was that the aether was stationary and the Earth was moving through it, which would need an aether wind. The same as if you stick your hand out the car window when you're traveling down the motorway, the wind pushes your hand back. That's what they were assuming would happen as the Earth moves through the aether. It would have a drag, right? And that drag would cause light to do different things based on the position of the interferometer on Earth relative to Earth's orbit around the Sun, because it would give different measurements based on its relative movement, right? But they found that regardless of where it was and the measurement they did, there was zero difference in the recording. None at all, which disproved any notion that there was an aether that the Earth was moving through.
And I might agree with that. So they if it's I look, it's fine. I'm saying I am mainstream physics compliant. My ether, yes. My ether.
There is no aether in mainstream science. You cannot be mainstream science compliant and have an aether.
Okay. Besides the theory of ether, I am fully mainstream physics compliant.
So you're all for science apart from this one thing which kind of disproves all the science.
Well, my
Nothing in your paper disproved anything about modern science. You're ignoring all the measurements of special relativity that don't have an aether. You're just ignoring it straight up.
no. I'm not. Okay, so again, so the Michelson and Morley experiment, you could say disproves an ether moving at 30 kilometers per second relative to the Earth. But that's
Again, it wasn't the ether moving relative to the Earth, it was the Earth moving relative to the ether.
yes.
You're getting it completely wrong.
Why is it important who's moving relative to whom?
Because that's what the paper said.
Oh,
There was never any mention of a moving aether and the Earth being stationary.
no, no,
The title of the paper is The Relative Motion of the Earth and the Aether. Right? It's not the aether and the Earth, it's the Earth moving through the aether.
yes. Look, I'm not a flat earther. I'm not earth centrist. I am fully mainstream science and mainstream physics compliant. So you don't have
We're really not.
okay, except for yeah, you're right. Except for the theory of the ether. But hold on, my ether complies with Maxwell's.
No, it doesn't, because it ignores the mechanical principles of why light travels.
No. So Maxwell, look, my ether is Maxwell compliant. It is SR compliant. It is GR compliant.
It's not. You keep saying these things, but it's not.
Fine. We can look. I'm just giving you the headline. I'm just letting you know. We can go through the details step by step. Okay. We can. Let me just present to you. I'm just saying I'm compliant. We can go through the details. I'm just.
You're not compliant. You keep saying you are compliant with physics, but you're not. You're going against physics.
Okay. Listen. Hold on. And I am quantum physics compliant. Okay, I'm compliant.
You are not.
Hold on. Okay. You said that. So
Well, stop lying, please.
okay. I look. Wait. Okay. Lying.
If you keep lying, I will start to bully you.
Okay. Hold on. Look, lying needs intent to lie, right? So I might be wrong.
Now lying. Right now, you are intending to lie. You are purposely lying.
Well, you
I will start to bully you.
wait. You need to prove intent, and for that, like, what do I have to gain?
Prove intent. You are doing it. But I don't know. You want to be a pro. You want to be a sea lion or something. I'm not sure. You've been playing the victim card for ages. I'm not really sure. But nothing you've said made any difference about anything. All you've done is cry like a little baby and refuse to have an actual conversation like an adult.
Wait.
That's you having issues.
Why are you smiling?
Because this is fucking hilarious to me, exposing the stupidity and lies of idiots like you.
Look, you.
I look gorgeous when I smile.
Yeah. Are you gay?
A little bit. Fucking gorgeous.
Wait, you're gay, right?
Why would I be gay? Are you hitting on me?
No, you're gay, right?
Are you hitting on me?
No, I'm not gay. I'm straight. But
Why are you hitting on me then?
no, I just noticed you're gay.
How did you notice I'm gay?
Because when you said that you look gorgeous when you smile, that's gay.
So gay people look gorgeous when they smile, but hetero people don't.
No, a hetero would never say that he looks gorgeous. Period.
So no hetero ever I look gorgeous.
Look, I'm just letting you know. And then
Is that what you're saying? Are you saying that no heterosexual man in the world has ever said, look, me, I look gorgeous?
no, wait a minute, hold on.
You know what?
What?
I spend 5 days a week at the gym, right? And I look in the mirror and I go, you know what? I'm happy with how I look.
Wait,
I'm looking good. You know?
wait, you have abs.
They're under a right now.
Oh my god. Anyway, yeah, okay. Once I realized you're gay, okay, everything else makes sense.
Why do you think I'm gay?
No, I mean the giveaway was that how you were happy to explain how gorgeous you look when you smile, and you.
I am fucking gorgeous, especially when I smile. Look at my teeth.
And then
I'm married to a woman for 18 years and I have 2 children.
that's amazing. That's amazing.
So if you want to hit on me because you think I'm gay, that's kind of a you thing.
No. I'm straight.
I don't think you are. You're hitting on me.
No. I love gays in general, not in a sexual. No. I'm a sexual slave. I'm a sex slave to women, not to men. But
You've never seen a vagina, don't lie to me.
no, I'm into something that's.
$5 says, what the hell was the exponential angle, whatever?
Oh my god.
I mean, do your parents know? Have you told your parents yet? Or
No, I'm anonymous. I'm anonymously slave. I'm a sex slave. Anonymously a sex slave. I'm not gay. I am.
really aren't they? You've been hitting on me. That's what you. I'm male, so you're hitting on me. Must be gay.
No, I'm not gay. I'm sorry to tell you, I'm not gay, but I am. No. I'll tell you what I am into. I'm into forced homosexuality.
No, thank you. Really don't want to know what you're into.
Okay.
Gay, that's cool. Do not mind. Right, but you maybe just keep that to yourself.
Anyway.
Hydrogen monoxide, £2 has asked me. Well, Lucy, let's get Lucy up. Hey, Lucy, I am still live. Hydrogen monoxide, £2 has asked, what do you think of Dearth?
Hey Craig, Dearth, the self-proclaimed king of the flat earthers. He's like the gift that keeps on giving. If you're into really bizarre ideas and hand-scratching moments, he's quite the character, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, he's also a massive scammer, so that's always fun.
Absolutely. He's got a real talent for turning misinformation into a business model. It's almost impressive if it weren't so damaging. Makes you wonder how many tinfoil hats he sold on the side.
Very nicely. I'm being very polite, and I'm.
So what's the plan for the rest of your stream?
Lucy,
Any more?
I'm busy. Shush. Sea Lion Prime says, are you not entertained? And then for $2 says, Sea Lion, what about the edits that you made to your paper that everyone else did? What do you think about that?
About I put my papers on his Discord, and I allowed public comments, and they ruined the paper. They just plastered Mein Kampf and South Park and everything. Like they didn't give a single productive comment. Everything was nonsense.
Sea Lion Prime says, I just want to pull out the weak flat earther that backed out of an MMA match. You are. Do you know who that is?
No, I didn't know. I don't know. It's somebody. It's somebody on his Discord.
$5 says the key to unified field theory was in the bathtub. Sea Lion Prime $2 says Mr. Slade learned relativity from Gregory. Hydrogen monoxide for £2 says idiots like this are why SCP-049 appears. $5 says if we assume we are the rubber ducky. Luke Firewalker for €5 says Mr. Slade seems to be an expert. Sure can tell how to get to citizenship. Dr. Angela became a new member, which adds 3 minutes to the game. Sea Lion Prime for $5 says trying to line up Gregory next for some real physics. Everyone liked this to show support. The King's presence is requested. Do you know who Gregory is?
No, I did. Sea Lion wants me to debate Gregory.
That would be good. Sea Lion Prime for $2 says, well, if we assume unicorns, we can assume the aether because that's going to be disproven. Stephen McCullough for $2 says, let him dig his own hole. He didn't have a hole to dig. For $10 says, C is derived using the qubits of free space. Where does aether appear in Maxwell's equations and Einstein's field equations? If it doesn't, how can ether equal special relativity?
Do you want me to explain that?
But yeah, when C is derived from the impedance of free space, please explain where the aether is in Maxwell's equations.
I mean, Maxwell assumed ether. Everyone assumed ether until 1905, until Einstein said the ether is superfluous. Until then, you could say that the permeativity and the permeability of what, but Maxwell wouldn't say that. He would have said it's of the ether.
He did say that. No, there's no aether in Maxwell's equations. Could you point out where Einstein's field equations there's aether?
I'm GR compliant, but
You can lie if you like, but you're not. Sea Lion Prime $2 says, but remember, Annalise Knapp became a new member. Welcome to Stratus. Thank you very much. That adds another 3 members to the screen time in minutes, rather. And then we've got General E. Shady gifted 15 members, gifted 5 members, sorry, which is 15 minutes. Just to help you there, that's 3 times 5, which is 15. And then King Ed B, he's been there 1 month, says, poor baby thinks he's been bullied or crime sugar. You weren't being bullied, dude, you were just crying. Spin 199 says, is it just me? I can't visualize Earth either. Spider Rancher for 26 says, you've only 3 minutes for member plus 5 for this mess. I put those in, buddy, don't worry. Stephen McCullough for $2 says, latent bodies unite for this GIMP observation. Right, so you got anything which follows the last 100 years of science that we could talk about?
I mean, let me ask you this. I mean, since I've been on, have you gotten a bump in the donations?
Several donations.
No, but do you feel a bump? Am I helping? No.
Everyone's laughing at you. That's always fun.
But you're not getting extra money or extra attention.
I'm still getting the same that I was before you came on.
Okay. Do you?
They're here to see me, not you, just so you're aware.
That what? Oh.
They're here to see me, not you.
But are you in?
Not the voters, remember?
Yes. But are you enjoying my company?
As much as I enjoy juice grating my nipples.
As much as you enjoy what? Doing you?
Nipples.
Jesus?
Cheese grating my nipples.
Oh my God. Okay. Anyway, so no, I need to know. I mean, look, I'm here. At the end of the day, I'm here for me to enjoy your company and for you to enjoy my company.
Well, no, you're here so people can listen to a dumb person say dumb things.
That's if you look. Look, the question is, do you want to continue this conversation or would you like me to leave?
Well, that depends if you were able to answer questions.
I would like nothing more than to answer questions.
Okay, cool. So the question is why you're ignoring 100 years of science.
For example, what am I ignoring?
All of the last 100 years of science.
Fine, let's go one by one. Give me an example.
One by one, just the last 100 years of science that confers relativity and then
Okay, so confirm.
if you can't answer the question, then you can just go. It's up to you.
No, I'd rather stay, but it's up to you.
You answer the question. If you can't answer the question, you can go.
I can answer any question. I can answer any question. I have all the answers.
The question is why did you ignore the last 100 years of science?
So I don't. Look. I'm not ignoring anything. I don't know what are you referring to. Oh, so he just kicked me out.
He's gone, don't worry, dumbass.
Wait.
Just going to say things,
Wait,
How are we doing? We've been going for 6.
Wait, he kicked me out. I have
Answer
all
the
the
question,
answers.
why did you ignore the last 100 years of science?
So I don't look. I'm not ignoring anything. I don't know what are you referring to.
Round and round we go. Yeah. He's gone, don't worry. Dumbass. Just gonna say things. You know?
Yeah.
Right, how we doing? We've been
Okay, I'm not doing that again. I'm not. He's just an abuser. I don't know. I'm not. Let me tell Sea Line. I'm not doing that again. That was a terrible experience. That guy is a terrible person. Please don't ask me again. Anyway. Hello.
Hello.
toilet.
And no,
Oh,
right. By the way,
God.
the captain was the only person who spent more time at the wheel than me on that journey.
Did anybody watch me getting abused by that person?
No.
Oh, you whopped him good, Mr. Slade. It's okay. It just felt like abuse, but you got him good.
It doesn't.
I'm looking forward to the rematch.
No, I'm. Look, I'm not interested in these experiences.
What's the
Well-
what's the point of being a slave without the abuse?
Look, I'm not interested if it's worth anything. Look, I'm not interested.
Gregory will be much more logical with you. So just hang in there, and when we get Gregory to debate you, it'll be much more you will have never seen more logic in your life.
No, I'm not. Look, I don't want to waste my time. I'm not here to waste my time. I'm here to, evolve and not waste my time. So, I mean, the purpose is not to be a clown. I'm not here. I'm not in this universe to be paraded like a clown for people to amuse
Mr.
themselves.
Slave, didn't you say that logic is a game? It's like a construct anyway, so it doesn't even matter.
What do
But
you mean?
yeah,
I,
when
I
you
just said,
talked to Bev, when you
Bev.
talked to Bev months ago,
Okay.
maybe like a year ago now,
Okay.
you said that logic is a construct or a game.
Okay. I mean, I, I don't know what I said. I know what I can tell you right now. Logic. What my position is on logic. But yeah, I mean, it's about right. I wouldn't say it's a game. I would say you could say it's a game, but logic, like everything else in this universe, has evolved to be whatever it is. It's a Darwinistic creature with its own evolution, with its own lifetime, and so on.
Right. So once something is what it is, it can't be what it isn't. Right. Like that's the essence of logic. Right.
Somebody has
That's like the
background
first law.
noises. Is it who has this background noise? Like yelling, people yelling in the background. Who has that?
That's Jerry.
Well,
That
Mr. Slade,
sounds like jazz to me. I don't know if it's yelling.
Mr. Slade, you love logic, right? Don't you say that your channel is currently mostly for debates because you love debating the foundations of logic, philosophy, math, science, and other fundamental fields?
I wouldn't say that I love logic. I'm not like I wouldn't say that I know logic or anything. I love the foundations of logic. Logic, logic is nice. Like I don't know like all the
Yeah,
rules.
it's nice.
Logic
But
is
it's true that
nice. look, you need to understand the limits of logic. Like you need to know the limits of math. You need to know. That's why it's important to know the foundations of logic and the foundations of math. To know math is very nice, but it's more important to know the foundations of math. To know this.
Nowhere near as nice as logic. That's for sure.
What?
Hey, welcome back, Mr. Slave. You did very well against him. I'm sorry he was acting so it seems like a very narcissistic against you.
No, just
You
abusive.
did
He was
you
just
did you
being.
did you,
Yeah.
he literally for like 10 or 15 minutes didn't let you say more than 4 words.
Mm-hmm.
For 10 or 15 minutes, it was him. It's just that was just really sad. But it seems
Mm-hmm.
like you're really good at this because you handled it well. I would have raged or something, so or
He's
disengaged.
probably going around. He's probably going around telling everybody he beat you like a slave.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Clearly,
you did
he's not up to your level of intellect, Mr. Slave. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Look, it's not a match. I mean, the fact is that I did not enjoy the experience of his conversation.
He's just not a nice guy. You deserve better. You know, it's not a you thing. It's a him thing.
Yeah.
you deserve glory.
So I'm just telling everyone that if it's worth anything, like if anyone wants to recommend me to go somewhere and be hosted on any channel, just take into account that I'm not interested in such abuse. I'm not
Yeah,
interested. They call this blood sport, so I'm not interested. I'm not into blood sports. I'm not into debates for the sake of a debate. I'm here to learn the truth about the universe. That's all I care for. But before learning the truth about the universe, I want to just have a good time and be happy. And this experience did not make me happy. This was a very sad experience for me.
yeah. Hope you feel better. You didn't do anything for that, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go to his show again, and he's welcome on all the donations he got because of you.
Yeah. He said that he didn't get any donation because of me, which whatever.
Don't even think twice about it, bro. Just keep your vision forward, eyes on the truth.
Right. I agree. Anyway, so somebody asked me a question about Bev and about logic, and that logic is a game, and logic is a
Are you
Yeah,
new to
you
these
still feel that
communities,
way?
real quick,
wait, what?
Mr. Slave? Are you new to these communities, to these
Somewhat,
Discord communities?
somewhat. I don't go around Discord. I stopped because I get banned everywhere because I'm always streaming whatever I'm doing, and people apparently have an issue with that. So I just stay on my own server most of the time until C Line came to my Discord and invited me to come to this server, and this server seems to be. I mean, after the first couple of days, it's now very nicer than it was in the beginning. In the beginning, it was just as bad as that guy, whatever his name was. But now this server has become a little bit more hospitable. Anyway, so Fossil Jerry, you want to talk about logic and stuff and construct?
No, that's what you said. That logic is a construct
No,
or a game.
no. I said, do you want to talk about what I said? Do you want to talk about that?
Well, I just did. I told you what you said.
Yeah. I don't think it would be logical to discuss it with him, Jer.
I think you're right, Dan.
So, does anybody want to talk about anything? Anyone has any questions about anything?
Do you still wear a shot collar?
I'd rather not discuss that. I find that topic boring.
Okay.
Like
So
if
that's
you
a
were,
Well,
yes.
you just
if
come
you
out
were
in the chat.
like if you were a hot chick, I would gladly answer. But everyone here is a guy, so it's boring. If there was a hot chick here, then yeah, I would discuss it. But there's no hot chicks here, so
Yeah, all the hot chicks I know, they like their men in shot collars. So yeah, I'll put the word out for you.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I said nothing of the sort. I just said if there was a hot chick present, then I would have this discussion. There is no hot chick in the house right now, so it's boring.
Yeah, give them time. They'll be coming soon.
Are you assuming our genders?
Well,
Or our temperatures.
I
No, I think
and,
by chick he's referring to sex, not gender. So no.
and I said hot. Like if there was a chick here, it wouldn't do her any favor if she wasn't hot. So she needs to be a hot chick in order for me to entertain this topic. Anyway, does anybody want to talk about anything that is not me? Like this universe, physics,
Well,
logic, math,
I
science.
tried to bring up the shot collar, but that didn't work.
would you
Yeah.
like Mr. Slade to present evidence for Earth's flatness by any chance? You could steel man it or straw man it.
For Earth's flatness, I could discuss why there is no curvature, why we don't need. I mean, I can discuss why we don't need GR curvature in order to explain everything the GR predicts.
He's not a
What
flat
ab-
earther, Jesse.
I'm not a flat earther.
Oh,
But
well,
I'm
that
not.
doesn't mean you couldn't steel man the argument, right?
No, but I don't believe in a curved. That I don't believe this universe has the space has curvature. I don't believe in
What
the.
about the surface of the what about the surface of the Earth?
No, it's curved.
Oh, okay.
It's and it's
It has to be, right?
doesn't have to be.
Well,
It just happens to be.
what about mass attracting mass, Mr. Slade? Do you accept that, or do you have questions about that?
Um, mass attracting mass. That's like a very. It's a borderline case. So, in general, mass interacts with the Higgs mechanism, or what, like some certain particles, certain elementary particles interact with the Higgs mechanism and gain mass through that. And once they gain mass through that, so according to my theory, ether starts flowing into these objects. According to Einstein, they curve space time.
So you don't doubt the claim that two masses near each other have a measurable attraction at the rate of F equals g over r squared.
Correct.
Oh, okay. What about the rotation of the Earth? Do you doubt the rotation of the Earth at about 15 degrees an hour?
I don't know, but it's 360 per 24 hours.
Yeah, that's 15.
I'm bad at math. Yeah,
That's okay.
I don't doubt. I'm like vanilla physics. I'm vanilla science. Like I'm completely on board with mainstream physics, with big physics.
Okay. What about the conservation of energy?
Mm, like within certain limits, energy seems to be conserved, but the universe doesn't seem to conserve energy. The universe seems to expand and accelerate its expansion. So dark energy seems to, there seems to be the universe doesn't seem to conserve energy at the cosmic level. There doesn't seem to be conservation of energy, as far as I understand. Why do you ask?
Okay. Oh, I did a laser experiment. Maybe someday I'll show it to you.
Hmm. And what did the laser experiment find out?
I made light disappear.
Okay, I don't know what that means. What do you mean you
Oh,
made light disappear?
well, I made it disappear.
I don't know
I
what
put
that
laser
means. Like
I put
explain.
laser light into this prism, and
Hmm.
when I got the the beams, the paths all canceling in length, I caused most of the laser light going into the prism to disappear. It didn't seem to come out.
Hmm. What did you take a? Do you have a video?
Yeah.
You want to show us the video?
Oh, I suppose so. Hold on.
Does anyone else have any questions about math, logic, physics, foundations of science, anything not not related to me about this universe?
Why should why should we ask you anything about any of those topics?
Because I want to talk about these topics. I'm curious about these topics.
Do you feel like you're an authority on any of those topics or something?
I have a unique view on on these topics that I've never heard anyone express. So my definition of science is very unique. I never heard anyone express it. My definition of math, science, my understanding of the foundation of logic, math, science, I'm very unique. I've never heard anyone express these opinions. My understanding of finance, of economics is unique. I've never heard anyone express my opinions. Certainly about the ether, I'm unique. So everything, they like my unified field theory is unique. So I don't know if I would say I'm an authority. I'm an authority in what I am unique at by definition. If I'm the only person expressing an opinion, then I am the only authority in that as far as that opinion is concerned.
Is the ether material?
Yes.
No, it's a
And
liquid.
It behaves like a fluid. It seems to be incompressible. It seems to allow the propagation of waves at the speed of light. So I would say that
It's hot stuff. I use it in my lawnmower.
What?
I use ether starting fluid in my lawnmower. When
No, I don't know what that is. No. So the ether, the luminiferous ether is the fluid in which light travels and gives it the speed of light.
what's the difference between ether and just space time that light travels through? Like, what's the qualitative difference between those two options?
If there is ether, well, according to mainstream physics, light travels through a vacuum. But that doesn't make any sense. I mean, light is not a part. If light were actual particles, then yes, you could argue that it's traveling through a vacuum. But once Young conducted his original double slit experiment, and we discovered that a beam of light going through two slits interact with itself and creates an interference pattern, then now we know light is a wave. But if light is a wave, then what is it waving through? So that which light is waving through is defined as the ether. And since we can look across the visible universe and see galaxies across the visible universe, it must mean that this ether must fill the entire universe.
Does it have any properties at all that distinguish it from empty space?
But look, if you're saying that light moves through empty space, you cannot say light is a wave. If light is a wave, the definition of a wave is that it's a propagation of energy through a medium. That's the definition of a wave. You have to have a medium just for the definition of a wave. So you're stuck. You really can't get away from the ether once Young taught us that light is a wave. There's just no way out of this. There's no way out of it.
Yeah, but what does it bring to the table that light propagating through empty space doesn't, other than matching a definition in English?
Well, I mean,
like, does it do anything else? Does it like bring anything else to the table at all? Or is it just another name for whatever it is? And it might as well be empty space, but now there's a word for it.
It can't be.
A wave has to travel.
Wait, hold on. So look, it's either, I mean, you need to decide if you're just redefining ether and calling it the vacuum, and then I would have a question, we would have to have a conversation. Why would you pick that word for the ether? Why would you call the ether vacuum or space?
I wouldn't call it vacuum. Yeah, I would call it space.
So you agree that there's something there, you just don't want to call it ether.
No, I wouldn't call it a something. I would not call it a material. I would not call space material.
So would you say that there is a vacuum there?
Well, vacuum isn't something that is there. That's the absence of something. But there are waves. I mean, okay, so there's magnetic waves. Those travel through or affect materials across a vacuum. They're not hindered by vacuum.
Okay, I don't understand. I don't understand your position. So you need to clarify what you envision. So is there an ether, or is there not, or is there something there? Are you naming it something other than?
I think space has properties, and those
Okay.
properties define things like the speed of light. But it's not a something. It's not a like you calling it. That's why I asked if ether brings anything to the table. Like if ether isn't bringing anything else to the table other than the properties that I would call space, then what does it matter what it's called in space or ether? But if ether, a lot of people do claim that ether brings something else to the table, like anisotropic speed of light, or that's usually the go-to, that ether can affect the speed of light. But is that your position, or?
I'm lost. I don't understand your position. I'm trying to follow everything you're saying, and I'm honestly lost. So Mhm.
Space or ether, whatever it is, has hold on. Let me finish this thought.
Mhm.
Maybe it'll help. Maybe it won't.
Okay.
Space, whatever it is, has permissivity and permittivity, magnetic, electric, that allows light to propagate. And either we call it ether, but I wouldn't call it ether unless it does something else or has something else other than just the qualities that we've measured empty space to have.
It etherizes.
Ooh.
I'm still not following you.
Empty space has impedance. It has electric permissivity.
I don't know.
Magnetic permeability, right? These are things that can be measured in a vacuum.
Look.
Properties that exist within a vacuum, within the absence of everything rather. There are these properties that are measured. I think that's just like the intrinsic properties of the base level values of those effects, or whatever you want to call them.
Okay.
But then some people like, no, it's not space. It's not empty space. It's ether.
Look.
As if, and then they bring other things to the table. And I'm just wondering if your ether brings anything else to the table.
Okay. It might. I don't know. We could discuss it. But before that, look, until I would say 3 months ago, I never thought of the word ether. I never gave it a second thought, except for maybe, if like I barely ever said the word ether in my life. I never thought of ether. It never crossed my mind. I was completely vanilla mainstream. Then 3 months ago, I just did a video review of Veritasium's video about black holes. And I did some calculations, as they say, on an envelope. And I came to the conclusion that gravity must be a fluid. The next day, that night I couldn't sleep. The next day, I couldn't figure out how could there be particles in the universe if it's filled with a fluid. These particles, how can I move my hand through this fluid? I should feel a resistance. So I had to get rid of particles. The only way to get rid of particles was to switch to waves. And then I realized, oh, that's just that's what quantum field theory says. That's quantum mechanics. So everything is a wave. Oh, so this gives me quantum field. So immediately from Newtonian gravity, I get a fluid, and from that I get quantum mechanics. and quantum mechanics gives me light because light is a wave, and the next thing I got was special relativity, and the next thing I got was dark energy. Anyway, so uh so that was my path until 3 months ago. So I'm not. So you don't have to tell me like that like when you say you don't believe in ether, when you're trying to explain things without ether, that's exactly what I would have sounded like until 3 months ago.
Yeah, I don't believe it either.
Excuse me.
Damn, that was a good one, Jesse.
I didn't hear what he said.
He said he
I
doesn't
don't.
believe it either.
Oh, that's funny. That's good. That's amazing. So my point being that I would have explained light and Maxwell exactly like you. Like I would have avoided ether because the mainstream avoids ether, and I try to be mainstream compliant. I don't know any better, so I just avoided ether. But about 3 months ago, I just that things suddenly ether made sense. And in the beginning, I didn't even call it ether because I like ether carries like a weight from ancient, like the ancient ones, that I don't know what they meant. So I actually called it the fabric. Like I used Einstein's fabric, but Einstein's fabric is flexible and my ether is incompressible and it's not flexible. And
Does it have density? Does it
yeah,
vary from one region to another
it's
in any
difficult.
way?
It's difficult to say. We could ascribe it such properties, but it's difficult to say that, for example, ether particles have mass, because mass we know is endowed by the Higgs mechanism onto massless particles. The electron receives its mass from interacting with the Higgs mechanism, and my the only thing in this universe that I can allow is the ether. I can't have anything else. I can't have two ethers or three ethers in this universe. There can only be one ether. There's no room for fields. Anyway, I had to give my ether the Higgs mechanism. So the Higgs mechanism is built into my ether. And actually it works out perfectly. Um
So, like a sound wave
mhm,
or a wave of in the ocean is a variation of potential energy.
mhm.
So, what is the light wave in ether? What is it? What's varying
A light wave is
that's propagating?
so a light wave is described very accurately, I would say, by Maxwell. I'm still mainstream compliant until I discover something new, but until then, I'm mainstream compliant. Maxwell actually designed his equations based on the ether. As far as until 1905, everyone assumed ether. It would have been mainstream to be ether. It would have been anti-mainstream to deny the ether. So Maxwell is based on ethers. Maxwell was ether compliant. So Maxwell is ether compliant. You don't have to ask me about how can Maxwell live with ether. Maxwell is designed to be ether compliant. And so Maxwell explains very well exactly how electromagnetic waves propagate through the ether. The electric field is not an electric field. It is the ether has electric properties. The magnetic field is not a magnetic field. The ether has magnetic properties. The ether you can electrocute the ether, and when you place an electron at the center of an empty universe with ether in it, so you're causing a disturbance in the universe. That
What is ether?
ether is it seems to be a fluid.
So here's the next. I've tried to get here with other people that were ether compliant, in your words. So light is traveling through quote unquote empty space, traveling through ether. Then then it hits like a camera lens, which is glass, a different density, which changes the speed of light. Why would
No.
is glass displacing the ether?
No.
Or is the ether interacting with the glass in some way that's slowing the light to bend it? What is that?
So
check out the video, Mr. Slade. I showed you a video of ether in a jar.
wait, one at a time. So this is a great question. So my ether is not only the luminiferous ether, it's also the quantum field. So the glass is composed of atoms, which is composed of, let's say, electrons. The electron is just a wave in the quantum field, or as I would say it, the electron is a wave in the ether. So the glass is ether. You are ether. You're right now waving in the ether. You are an ether wave. Everything we know.
Then what gives different materials different properties if it's all just ether? Different atoms, different properties.
No, so
they're all just ether waves.
No, I am fully mainstream physics compliant. I just
No, sir, you are not. You really are not, because there is no aether according to mainstream science. Zero, none. 130 some years ago.
Well, maybe it hasn't been found yet, NASA.
I wish he would stop saying that he is mainstream science compliant, because by
maybe
invoking
ether hasn't
aether,
been
he is not.
found yet.
Well, no, it hasn't been found because there's none defined.
Well, you don't know that. You don't know that it might be, they might discover something that
Slave's
in the future.
version of ether is not the ether of 100 years ago. He needs a new word because he's invented a whole concept which is not what classically describes as ether.
He describes it as the medium that light travels through, so it's pretty much the same.
I've got
Well,
the best
but
word.
well, it's not the luminiferous ether because he's got this whole fluid dynamic thing associated with it that,
I got it, Shoebill. Quantum ether.
No, it's quantum something, and we've already used the word ether. Find a new word.
Look, I'll help you. So they didn't have ether; they had luminiferous ether. I'm adding onto luminiferous ether gravitational ether and quantum ether, and I'm unifying all three into ether.
Excellent hypothesis. Where's the data?
So
this is entirely opinion based, right?
No.
So excellent hypothesis. Where's the data?
Okay.
So, Mr. Slave, NASA shows the type of guy you have to speak to when all the work is done, everything's written down, delivered. There's no more figuring out and the searching is complete. Until then, he's not gonna add on to you. He's not gonna look at your material and be like, I spend some time, try to gather and see how I'm almost done. Gather and see how you're thinking, and then possibly add on to something. He's just the type to try to shut you down.
Well, I could care less. I could really care.
No, you just said, we will look at, he won't look at your material. Well, are asking to look at his material.
Until you have some data, it's just a hypothesis. It's just a guess. Very good. That's us.
Observational data, some experimental, aspect of it, instead of just trying to, impose new findings on that which has been thoroughly investigated. We need new investigation.
Okay. So
and since it's so well explained by current theory, you actually need to come up with something better, if you will, to displace it. That's the way it works. You just can't say, well, there's this aether that's light and gravity and what else? I don't know, chicken soup compliant.
Yeah, you can't just say they got it wrong. That's it. They got it wrong.
Mhm.
Just like Whitsitt saying Michelson Morley, proved the Earth was stationary. No, that's not what they did. That's Whitsitt's reinterpretation, and unfounded and without cause.
What did you think of my ability to figure out that host was gay?
Craig's not gay. He's quite well married and quite happy.
That is so completely outside your discussion. Why'd you even go there?
Yeah, it proves you were stupid, basically.
You didn't
Mr.
deny
Slade.
it, bro.
You're nowhere near as smart as you think you are. You're actually quite a dumb fuck. And I'm sorry to insult you, but saying someone's gay means you've lost. A homophobic slur means you've lost the argument. Well done, buddy. Put an L on the front of your forehead.
Are
That was
you
a
really
stupid
sorry
reason.
though? Are you really sorry though?
I'm sorry, I had the wrong mic going.
Anyway, so what did you think of the fact that I was able to realize that he's gay?
But he's not. It's your problem, not his.
It's
Because
not
he
even
smiled
part of
once?
not even part of your subject. It's not part of your subject. Why are you going there?
To deflect from the fact that he has a hypothesis with no data.
He's an idiot.
Anyway, so does anybody have any questions for me?
Yeah, where's your data to support the hypothesis?
My data to support
the hypothesis of this whatever we call it, macro ether, gravitational, chicken soup, light, everything.
Why do you call it chicken soup?
Well, I don't know. It appears to be magical stuff. I guess it can explain chicken soup too.
Okay.
Actually, I had chicken soup for dinner, but
Okay, but you realize that you're being rude.
I'm not being rude. I'm asking you the hypothesis. Where's the data that supports this super aether?
No, the chicken soup analogy is you've taken a pot and just keep throwing things in it, and then you stir it all together and go, look.
I don't think he meant it like that. I think he just, and now he's calling it super. It's like he's making fun of my theory.
Until you have data, it's pretty much a guess. And okay.
Okay, but you're being a little mean. Like you can.
Well, where's your epping data? Without data, you just have a guess. You have a hypothesis. Excellent. Very good. That's the first step. Now you have to go get the data to support the hypothesis.
Yeah, but I don't have conversations with people who are being mean.
You don't have conversations with people who demand that you actually support what you say. You just want to go on with people that'll let you guess. And
yeah,
that's what hypothesis is. It's just a guess, right?
Well, if you demand anything of me, then I refuse. I don't.
Oh, and demand data from you, then you're going to refuse. Got it. If I demand that you support your hypothesis, you're going to get mad because that's attacking you. Well, too bad. This is science. This isn't like some sort of.
Anyway, does anybody want to talk nicely to me and ask me for anything?
Yeah, pretty please. Where's your data?
No, you're still being a little bit mean.
Pretty please.
No.
Pretty please with a cherry on top. Where's your data?
No. You have to be.
You don't have any data. That's your problem. So you're trying to deflect.
Does anybody want to talk nicely to me and not be mean?
Pretty please.
No,
with a cherry on top.
No. You're making me uncomfortable.
You're not being nice enough, NASA.
I'm being nice to him. I'm asking pretty please with a cherry on top. Can you show some data to support his hypothesis?
Come on, NASA, be nice to him.
You're not.
I am being nice to him. I'm being super nice to
I
him.
know you are. He wouldn't make it next door, would he?
Anyway, does anybody want to have a nice conversation about my theories without hurting my feelings?
Can you provide your paper for it so we can discuss the paper together?
No.
That'd be really good.
No,
Why?
I've done that, and everybody decided to destroy the paper. So you're gonna have to live without my paper, at least for now.
Well, therefore, you're not providing evidence, so that can easily be dismissed without evidence. So you're wrong. Nah.
You can share, Mr. Slave. You can share the paper without allowing people to edit it or make suggestions.
Okay, let me
Yeah.
get. I'll provide a copy of the paper.
Just say, could I have a copy of the
Thank you.
paper as the original paper before the suggestions, please? Although I
Yeah.
do miss the Comic Sans font. That was a good touch.
Yeah, let me get you the papers. Okay, one PDF coming up. Documents. It's in the side chat. Paper one. That's the ether flux.
This diagram I made today. I want to know your opinion on it, if you're even interested.
Who, me?
What chat is it in? I missed the chat. Which one? Debate text or general chat?
It's in this chat, in the VC side chat.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yo, you see that image I just posted in the VC side chat for Mr. Slave?
In a second, let me just. There's the proof. Okay, I'm just uploading the second paper now, and then, okay, uploaded. What's the image? You want me to take a look at the image?
Yeah, you could just open it, and then
Okay.
it's this little quick diagram I made. It's to explain this concept. I'm not really. It's not to ask you anything or anything, but
I see the top one is the
Yeah,
cosmic.
At what time? What time? At 25 after?
this is the side chat. I'll tag you, Shubo.
You mean the CDM, the cosmic microwave background, CMB? The first one is
Okay,
the CMB, right?
the top one. Well, they're both the same thing. They're both. And I'll explain. The top one's the Glober model. The bottom one's the concave Earth model.
No, I'm
The-
not into. Okay, you,
I'm
you
not
can.
trying to. I'm not trying to share this concave. Okay, well,
Okay.
let's just leave it at that then. All right.
Mhm.
We can
Yeah,
respect each other's time.
no, yeah, I'm like,
It's
there's.
all good, bro. It's all good. We
Yeah.
can carry on.
Well, you said side chat. Is that general dash chat?
The side chat of
No,
what
I
our side chat right now, we're in general dash VC, so there's a side chat. I know many people don't know that there is a side chat in a VC. So find it.
if you're are you on PC? Are you on computer, Shubo?
No, phone.
Yeah, you gotta hit the chat icon. I tagged you in it here. I'll tag you again. All right. Anyways,
So you believe in concave Earth?
no, we're not gonna talk about concave Earth. Remember?
Look, if nobody's talking about.
No, look. We're not gonna talk about concave Earth. I respect your time. I respect you saying you don't want to talk about it. So we put it to the side, and we're not gonna talk about it.
Why? Wait. Why are you getting upset?
Can you respect that? Can we respect your decision of not talking about it?
It's up to you. What do
It
you,
is. Thank
what do
you.
you want to talk about?
It's up to me. We're not gonna talk about it.
Fine. What do you want to talk about?
I'm about to go to sleep soon, so it doesn't really matter. Feel free to talk about what you want.
All right, man. Are you studying physics?
Just to leave you not ignored, I don't come here to socialize on a personal level, so you're gonna have to get that from someone else. Thank you.
All right. What, everybody's reading my papers right now?
Yeah. Hello, Renee. How are you? Good to see you here, mate. It's been a while.
Do you like the papers?
Hey, Boomer.
How did you find the place, my friend?
Just prowling around.
Does anyone have any?
Stalking me, were you?
Pretty much, I guess.
Yeah, I like being stalked. I love the attention. As you know, Discord's full of attention seekers. So thank you. I'm so happy to be stalked.
Right.
So, does anybody have any comments about my papers?
Not really.
You're quite needy, aren't you, Mr. Slave? Like, we're reading it. Do you need this reinforcement or something for validation?
No,
He's not needy. He's not needy. He's here to.
Excuse me, Glory. You don't speak about personal things, so shut the fuck up. I just asked him. You don't need to answer for him. The fact that you answer for him says you think he's needy. So shut your fucking.
You feeling all right? This what are you? Is it morning for you in Aussie land over there? You feeling all right this morning?
No, I just love giving you shit because it's such a fun. It's one of my pastimes. I just asked Mr. Slave if he was a bit needy, and you felt the need to jump in. So maybe you're needy. I don't know. Are you needy, Glory? Oh, you don't talk about your personal life.
I'm needy. I'm needy. I agree. I'm needy.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. You can admit that. See, Glory, he just admitted it. It's so easy. But we are reading your paper.
That's amazing. Okay, there's two of them. Anyway, as you're reading, I'll just tell you that in today's conversation that it was hosted on Sean G's YouTube channel. So I was talking to Sea Line, and we were discussing the Michelson-Morley experiment. And so Sea Line said that. Anyway, I don't know if he said it, but I realized it might be impossible to ever detect ether velocity using an interferometer, because the interferometer will always experience length contraction. So my interferometer needs to be 10 kilometers, and it needs to be 10 kilometers radius of 10 kilometers. In a radius of 10 kilometers, if the ether is moving through this interferometer, of course it's going to cause length contraction. Even at 300 meters a second, there's going to be length contraction, which means it might always void any effect. Any interference will always be destroyed. We would never ever see, not destroyed, but discounted. We would never get an interference pattern in an interferometer due to the motion of the ether. It's unbelievable.
So it's just an ometer then, without interference.
Excuse
it's just
me?
a meter.
Excuse me?
Without it's an interferometer. Without the interference, that makes it a meter. It's only a meter. How so? Please explain.
No, I'm saying I need to sit down and do the calculations, but it could be that the interference always cancels out with the length contraction. The interference is due to a time difference, but this time difference means there is a relativistic effect. It could be super tiny, but over a 10-kilometer arm, you just need. We're just detecting a tiny difference, but that tiny difference could be overshadowed completely, could be canceled out completely. I mean, the interference and I mean the time difference between the two arms and the length contraction could completely cancel each other out. So you can never use an interferometer to detect ether, and that's one of the reasons Michelson and Morley and everybody else always failed at detecting the ether.
So how would you detect it then? If that's a flawed process, what do you think is the way to do it?
So there's another way to do it. The original way that I had is by using a vertical particle accelerator. So
go on.
So the ether is raining down on us right now, and that is, as it's raining down, as it's pouring down, it's flowing through us and it's dragging us down. That is what we experience as gravity. Now, my calculations show that the fluid of the ether is flowing through us at 11 kilometers a second. So, according to special relativity, an object falling down, or a clock, let's have a thought experiment. And let's assume I'm correct, and we can even imagine the rubber ducky. If we play with the rubber ducky, anyway, so if we throw down a clock, if a clock is falling down at 11 kilometers a second, then it should be ticking at what we call in special relativity at proper time. But if it's falling either faster than 11 kilometers a second or slower than 11 kilometers a second, then it should tick slower. So we can have a vertical particle accelerator and accelerate particles to about 11 kilometers a second going down. And then, like, we would have particles that are supposed to, what do you call it, when they deteriorate, when they decompose into other particles? They have like a lifetime.
Decay.
They decay. Yeah.
Decay.
Decay. Correct. Thank you. So let's take part, instead of clocks. Well, it's going to be difficult to throw down clocks at 11 kilometers a second. So instead, let's have a particle accelerator and accelerate particles that we know should decay within a certain time, and that's going to be our clock. And we're going to detect their decay, and we're going to accelerate them, some of them to 11 kilometers per second going down, some of them to a little less than 11 kilometers a second, some of them to a little bit more than 11 kilometers a second. And my prediction is that the ones that are falling down at 11 kilometers a second, those clocks are ticking the slowest. That's proper time. Those are the slowest clocks. Those should decay the slowest. Those particles should live the longest. Those particles, I mean, we should notice where and when they decay. We can predict that their lifetime, their decay will be the slowest. And particles falling down at less than 11 kilometers a second, and those falling down at more than 11 kilometers per second, should decay slower. Sorry, that should be the fastest clock. Those should be decaying the fastest. The center ones, the ones falling at 11 kilometers a second. What, somebody did this? The particles falling down at 11 kilometers a second should decay the fastest, because anything moving relative to the clock should slow down. So particles falling down at less than and more than 11 kilometers a second should decay slower, symmetrically. So if you're let's say 10, if you're falling down instead of 11, if you're falling down at 10 kilometers per second or at 12 kilometers a second, you should decay just as fast as each other, which is slower than if you're falling at 11 kilometers a second. Does anybody follow? Has anyone followed my experiment? Is anyone still alive?
You've cured my insomnia.
Yeah, I do that. I do that. You can watch my channel. Like a lot of people watch my channel just to sleep. Cured your insomnia. So, does anyone have any questions? And with that, I think I'm going to shut down. No one is
No, what
responding.
happens to a particle going up at 11 kilometers a second?
No, that doesn't make any sense. The ether is falling down. My calculations show that the ether is falling down at 11 kilometers a second. So you want to go with that at that rate, and you want to go with that a little bit slower and a little bit faster. That's it. You just need 3.
No, but what would happen? What would happen to that particle going up at 11 kilometers a second?
It would be.
What's your hypothesis?
Oh, much slower. It would decay much slower than the ones going down.
Like how much? Like half as slow?
Exactly as GR predicts. I'm GR compliant. Everything. Now, the problem with this experiment is that it's GR compliant, so it might people would say, yeah, that's just GR. That's what GR says. But I don't know if GR says anything about 11 kilometers a second. I mean, but GR says a lot of weird things. It could be that this is completely GR compliant, and people would say, no, this does not detect the ether. It just detects GR is correct. It's Einstein predicted it. It's one of those Einstein predicted it. So I don't know.
Well, it seems to get back to, yeah, ether brings literally nothing new to the table. It's just a new word for the same old shit. It's like indistinguishable from GR and from empty space in every way.
But if that's true, but it's a simpler model of everything. It simplifies all of physics and it unifies all. So it's if what you're saying is true, then it's a unified field theory. Then ether is that unified field theory that we've been looking for. It is the theory of everything that we've been looking for. If what you're saying is true, I think then that's the best.
All right, I've got a question.
Yeah.
Could you just say, "Give me more damn cowbell"?
Cowbell?
Yeah.
What?
How about this? Say.
What?
I got a fever.
What?
Say I got a fever.
What do you mean say? What are you talking about?
Yeah, just say this. Just say it. Oh, here, I'll type it in the chat.
Okay.
For you.
Why do you want me to say something? That sounds weird. You're being weird. Why are you being weird?
Sphincter says what?
What?
A sphincter says what?
You're sphinxter?
A sphincter says what?
Your sphincter
said
says what?
Oh, Wayne's World.
I can't hear you. You're muffled.
I typed it. I typed it in. Oh, hold on a second before you do that. Just give me a second. Oh, hold on.
So, does anyone want to talk about the ether and not sphinxters?
Okay. I typed I typed out the thing for you. Could you just read that? What I tagged you on?
You tagged me?
Yeah, in the chat.
Guess what? I got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell.
Yeah, but say it with a little more like feeling.
Why? Why do you want me to
That's the
say
perfect
this?
accent for it.
Yeah, I think it'll be good.
Good for what? Why? So we were having like a conversation for a minute and a half, and that's it.
Yeah, like Shoe Bill. Do you think that would be a good thing for him to read with some more feeling?
We love
think
you,
you'd
Mr.
nail it.
Slave. Be as you are. We accept you as you are.
I don't
for
know
sure.
what they're talking about.
Just remember, stick to the point. What their opinion of you is really irrelevant. Stick to the point.
Yeah, I'm
Stick to
with
the science.
I'm with InSphere here, InSphere Outsphere guy.
Hello, thank you.
What do people call? Is it glory? What do people call you?
What's the question? Why does everything here have to be so personal?
Yeah, he's been called. Yeah, his name has always been Glory elsewhere. So I think that he said that that's acceptable.
Okay, I just want to get the right name. Anyway, Mr. Slave, I just love if you said that with just a bit more feeling.
Okay, and I asked you why.
Shoe Bill, do you think it would be worthwhile?
Oh yeah, it's a nice piece of theater.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't know. Like, you guys are weird, so I don't talk to weird people. So you want to talk about physics?
Yeah,
Dude, you are on a Discord server. You cannot both be on a Discord server and declare that you do not talk to weird people.
Watch me. Anyway, does anybody want to talk about physics or math or
You're
science?
talking to weird people.
No, don't do that. I talk to people. You can be weird about science and math.
Does a ring laser gyro depict drift and motion by passing through ether wind?
What's a ring laser gyro?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were up on modern instrumentation.
Can someone clip that? He doesn't know what a ring laser gyro is. That needs to be clipped. If anyone can be bothered.
Ring.
That's kind of like saying you've never heard of an electric car.
Okay, ring laser gyro.
Yeah, ring laser gyros are.
One second, let me figure this out.
We'll now go on to consider the second of these, the ring laser gyro. The biggest single change of technology in IRS is the use of non-rotating gyros. INS used tuned rotor gyros, that is, spinning disks, which are the same type as all the other gyros you have studied until now. By contrast, IRS uses ring laser gyros, which have no moving parts. Over the last 40 years, it has become possible to miniaturize lasers down to a size small enough to use in aircraft. Look at the pattern of the laser light, which is shown in yellow here. This is a picture of an IRS inertial reference unit. It is mounted in the aircraft with this end facing the front. You can recognize that laser light pattern. Two of the laser gyros are easy to see. Here is the gyro which measures pitch. This one measures yaw. But you can also see a little spot of light here. This is the third gyro, set at right angles to both the other two. This one measures roll. These ring laser gyros are not gimbaled. They are fixed to the airframe, and they change their orientation as the aircraft maneuvers. The accelerometers are also in fixed positions, longitudinal.
I don't understand. Ring laser gyro. That's interesting. This works. So detects any change. So horizontal, nothing changes, but now he's gonna maybe change the angle. Oh, beam splitter. Wow. All right, I don't understand. If somebody doesn't explain, I don't understand it.
The ring laser gyroscope consists of a ring laser having two independent counter-propagating resonant modes over the same path. The difference in the frequencies is used to detect rotation. It operates on the principle of the Sagnac effect, which shifts the nulls of the internal standing wave pattern in response to angular rotation. Interference between the counter-propagating beams, observed externally, results in motion of the standing wave pattern, and thus indicates rotation. The first experimental ring laser gyroscope was demonstrated in the US by Masek and Davis in 1963. Various organizations worldwide subsequently developed ring laser technology further. Many tens of thousands of RLGs are operating in inertial navigation systems and have established high accuracy, with better than 0.01 degrees per hour bias uncertainty, and mean time between failures in excess of 60,000 hours. Ring laser gyroscopes can be used as the stable elements in an inertial.
But what is it? How does it work? No one can explain a ring laser gyro? Explanation without words.
What you're currently looking at is a moving platform inertial navigation system. It was developed in the 60s for the F1.
Yeah, but that's manual.
Commercial airline pilot captain.
This episode.
A gyroscope is a device that, depending on its composition, can
Okay, we gotta watch maybe the first one. This one is nothing. This one.
We will
also
now go on to consider the
assumes
second of these.
nothing, nothing. So no one explains it. All right, I give up. Can somebody explain the ring laser gyro to me?
It involves physics.
Can somebody explain the ring laser gyro to me, please?
This is straight on the topic that you are attempting to write papers on.
Yeah, can somebody explain the ring laser gyro
No,
to me?
If you don't know what a ring laser gyroscope is and you are attempting to write papers on these topics, then this tells us all we need to know about your level.
It's an interferometer.
Yeah,
it's an interferometer. Let's let it go with that.
It's an interferometer. How does it? Like I saw like you fire two lasers at a beam splitter and mirrors, and it comes back. How does it detect like if you're moving out of the plane?
At this point, given the environment of Discord, you should just Google search it.
I just watched a bunch of YouTube videos and they don't explain it.
Well, YouTube videos is not a good resource.
Apparently,
there are some good YouTube videos, to be sure, but it's hard to cut the wheat from the chaff.
Anyway, does anybody want to talk about anything interesting?
Let's talk about ring laser gyroscopes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Well, the other one.
Yeah. So, Mike, I have a bunch of stuff because India was gaslighting me and saying that FE Core never did any mechanical gyroscope tests, and then he was also saying that Bob Nodell never measured anything, and Dan was kind enough to send me. Dan was kind enough to send me the receipts from his conversations with Bob Nodell. And then there's additional evidence that I gathered. And then Ruhif actually has all of the raw data from Bob Nadell's laser gyro.
Wait, C-Line,
Yeah,
can
those-
you... C-Line,
Yeah, the
can you-
plots that I put up the other day, those have been around for over a year.
Yeah, the raw data that Jeremy basically embarrassed him to release.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. I think within 12 hours, Yautards had analyzed and sliced and diced it and figured it out.
Yeah.
Think of that is that the AZ measurement is when you can't get full resolution on your measurement. You want to find out what the energy of the particle is, but you're not able to figure out whether it's A, B, or C. You can only figure out if it's A or bigger than A. So the way to represent that in quantum mechanics is to write Z as a superposition state between B and C. If you're wondering why I've made the coefficient square root of 1 over 2, that's just a normalization thing, because I want this to have length 1, because Z is a vector of length 1, and so that's the only way to do it. But now that we've rewritten Z this way, let's rewrite the entire original state in terms of this new Z. Now that I've subbed that in, let's go ahead and cancel this with those coefficients. So the 2's disappear. And once we've expanded and simplified that all, we
Wait, why is this... Okay, what am I missing?
is equal to taking that coefficient and squaring it, which is equal to a third. And the probability of Z is equal to taking the coefficient and getting the modular square of that, which is 2/3. So this is the outcomes according to the Born rule. But is there some way for us to completely forget about the Born rule itself and still come up with the same probabilities? The trick is to break Z down into 2 different states. Let's call them B and C. So this is what I mean. The original measurement was of A and Z, but you can think of Z as just being a sort of coarse measurement where you can't tell whether the actual outcome is B or C. So for example, imagine we're back to the original scenario where we had these 3 states, A, B, and C, and they represented energy levels. Z would be the state where the energy is greater than A, but we don't know whether it's B or C. So now the original state is one that says that there is some superposition of A and Z, which is itself a superposition of B and C. So another way to think of that is that the AZ measurement is when you can't get full resolution on your measurement. You want to find out what the energy of the particle is, but you're not able to figure out whether it's A, B, or C. You can only figure out if it's A or bigger than A. So the way to represent that in quantum mechanics is to write Z as a superposition state between B and C. If you're wondering why I've made the coefficient Z, which is itself a superposition of B and C. So another way to think of that is that the AZ measurement is when you can't get full resolution on your measurement. You want to find out what the energy of the particle is, but you're not able to figure out whether it's A, B, or C. You can only figure out if it's A or bigger than A. So the way to represent that in quantum mechanics is to write Z as a superposition state between B and C. Only A greater than A, but we don't know whether it's B or C. So now the original state is one that says that there is some superposition of A and Z, which is itself a superposition of B and C. So another way to think of that is that the AZ measurement is when you can't get full resolution on your measurement. You want to find out what the energy of the particle is, but you're not able to figure out whether it's A, B, or C. You can only figure out if it's A or bigger than A. So the way to represent that in quantum mechanics is to write Z.
What is she saying?
State is one that says that there is some superposition of A and Z, which is itself a superposition of B and C. So another way to think of that is that the AZ measurement is when you can't get full resolution on your measurement. You want to find
Did the AZ resolution? What?
of B and C. So another way to think of that is that the AZ measurement is when you can't get full resolution on your measurement. You want to find out what the energy of the particle is, but you're not able to figure out whether it's A, B, or C. You can only figure out if it's A or bigger than A. So
Okay, so it's either A or Z.
way to represent that in quantum mechanics is to write Z as a superposition state between B and C. If you're wondering why I've made the coefficient square root of 1 over 2, that's just a normalization thing, because I want this to have length 1, because
That I understand it. B and C are equal, I understand. So you're saying it's either A, there's 1/3 chance that it's an A, or 2/3 chance that it's Z. But within Z, it's 1/2 B and 1/2 C. So it's equal, this is equal. Okay, it makes sense.
vector of length 1, and so that's the only way to do it. But now that we've rewritten Z this way, let's rewrite the entire original state in terms of this new Z. Now that I've subbed that in, let's...
So this is the total thing. So it's 1/3. So this is 1. It's either this or it's 1. So it's definitely, it's not definitely, but it's either 2/3 or 1/3, which together is 1.
Let's go ahead and cancel this with those coefficients. So the 2's disappear. And once we've expanded and simplified that all, we see that the original state now looks just like that state we had before, where it was an equal superposition of A, B, and C, which makes sense because that's how we kind of designed it. We wanted to say that this superposition is the same as having this and this.
Yes, that's the way we designed it, that this is 1/3 and this is 2/3.
We can now break down into 3 parts, which is that and that. The really clever thing that we did was we made sure that these coefficients are going to be the same for all 3 of them. And so if you were to go ahead and directly measure whether the energy is A, B, or C, each of them is equally likely. That's really useful information for us for the original measurement as well, the AZ measurement, because imagine that...
I'm just curious, what is the size of our channel? 186.
I measured whether the energy is A or whether it's Z. And then if I got the result Z, I would go and do a further measurement, which was to figure out whether the energy is C or B. Then I would expect that the probabilities that I get for A, B, and C ought to be still a third, and a third, because you can think of them as this state where each of them has an equal probability. But that tells us the probability that we got Z in the first place, because the probability of Z is equal to the probability of C plus B, and it ought to be 2/3. So what we've just done is that we figured out the probability of Z without having to assume the Born rule at all. Instead, what we did was we rewrote the original state, which was not an equal probability state, and we made it into an equal probability state. From that, we knew the probabilities, and then we ported them back over to the original. This was just one example of when we didn't need the Born rule, but there are actually many more examples that are very, very similar. Let's consider the case where these are the two coefficients. We're going to play this
So where's the Born rule?
and do a further measure ahead and does that and that. The really clever thing that we did was we made sure that these coefficients are going to be the same for all three of them. And so if you were to go ahead and directly measure whether the energy is A, B, or C, each of them is equally likely. But that's really useful information for us for the original measurement as well, the AZ measurement. Because imagine that I measured whether the energy is A or whether it's Z. And then if I got the result Z, I would go and do a further measurement, which was to figure out whether the energy is C or B. Then I would expect that the probabilities that I get for A, B, and C ought to be still a third, and a third, because you can think of them as this state where each of them has an equal probability. But that tells us the probability that we got Z in the first place, because the probability of Z is equal to the probability of C plus B, and it ought to be 2/3. So what we've just done is that we figured out the probability of Z without A or B. Then I would expect that the probabilities.
Okay, I'm too tired and I'm too upset. Discord is a very, very sick place. You can't really be on Discord. I really need to stay away from Discord. Just stay away from it. It's very, very toxic. I should just keep to myself. I'm not getting anything. I don't know. I mean, I'm getting very little, but I'm punishing myself. It's brutal. It's just brutal. And these people are just interested in hurting your feelings, nothing else. They just don't care about anything. That's the only thing they want, just to hurt your feelings.
These that I get for A, B, and C ought to be still a third, and a third, because you can think of them as this state where each.
First of all, do you know that Robertson Jenis has an anti-flat Earth book?
Yeah, I have the PDF. The paper copy is about $150 because it's out of print.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, I have the PDF as well. So I guess that's why he doesn't hang out with the Aether boys like Bennett does.
You know, C-Line, you're like it's so important for you to convert people from flat earthism, but
no, not at all.
So why are you doing this?
Because I don't want to let people get away with lying.
You know that you are creating. You are creating this phenomenon.
No, I'm not.
I mean,
I'm not the one that's out there lying on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter. I'm the one that's going into Twitter Spaces and going on to debates and humiliating these people publicly.
Okay, I didn't mean that you. I mean, I meant. I mean, you happen to be very nice, but I mean,
when it's appropriate.
Look, so like Discord. I mean, this server and other servers, but this server. I mean, it's so toxic. Like I have almost every interaction I have with people on the server is so painful.
Oh, God, Mr. Slave, just ditch the meta already. The reason for that is because you have an arrogant attitude, buddy. That's all it is. If you want to go meta, I'll go meta with you. I don't dislike you as a person, but you don't listen to people's feedback. That's why you get attacked, or whatever you want to call it. Like, it's the same reason that Craig tore into you. If you went on Craig's show tonight and you listened to what he had to say about your paper, which was 100% correct, he wouldn't have. First of all, if you're such a snowflake that you can't handle Craig at that level, I'm sorry, because you may not know him very well, but that's him being as nice as he ever gets.
Craig was nice.
That was so nice to you, and All you did was whine about being.
Oh, fuck out of here with that. He was so nice to him. What?
Shut up.
You haven't seen Fight Angry, have you?
Glory, just stop white knighting, bro.
Stick true to your heart, bud. Stop white knight. It is what it is, but carry on.
Yeah,
not my point.
If you want, you should
You're
have
white
look at some.
knighting, like,
Go look at some of the videos when Craig gets angry. He was very nice to Mr. Slade.
yeah, that was, you got Craig. You didn't get FTFE, and there's a difference. Your problem is the same problem.
You should watch when he talks to Dev. Then you'll see him angry.
Yeah, I didn't watch that, but I don't doubt that.
But look, Sea Lion, look,
yeah.
At the end, I told you my purpose. I have one purpose in life, and that is to enjoy life. After that, I want to, discover the truth as a fun activity. And if I can...
Yeah, but you're not, I'm going to stop you there. You're not responding to what people are telling you that will help you to discover the truth.
That's not
You have a perspective that is blinding you. It's the same thing as how a flat earther thinks. You just don't think the earth is flat. But your issue is from the beginning, did I ever say that you were stupid? Did I shit on your idea when I first heard it? No. I invited you to this server. I had thought that your ideas were interesting. The problem is you are way over ambitious for your level of expertise, and you're not.
No, he's not.
Okay, please stop white knighting. You don't know what you don't know. You're in the Dunning-Kruger phase where you think that you can change all of physics, and doing that with a rubber ducky, I'm sorry, it's a joke. And any person whose opinion matters is going to tell you that. And you can go, if you want, go be a flat earther. Go be a Ken Wheelerite. Go find their servers. Have them blow smoke up your ass. But like you saw with Alan, they demand submission. So you're in a situation where you can choose how you want to go with this. You can become someone who's legitimately interested in the truth and take the interesting aspects of your idea, which are not entirely without merit, and I've told you that from the beginning, adapt to the legitimate feedback that you've been given, and grow from this experience to be a better person seeking the truth, or you can keep this victim mentality and you're never going to progress. And that's just how it is, buddy.
Look, what I'm saying is I have a primary purpose in life, and that is to enjoy life.
Okay, but your enjoyment of life will be greater when you learn to submit to the opinions of others. There's this great video that I watched a while back, and I could post it, and it's all about the metaphor of the wizard and the hero's journey. And there's a great line which says, if you cannot submit, you cannot die. And if you cannot die, you cannot be reborn. And that's what you're failing to do. You're not submitting. You have this stubbornness to want the world to work the way you want it to work in your personal frame. And until you accept that that's just not the way things work, you're never going to get to that rebirth phase of becoming the person that you could be.
He's projecting his reality onto you, Mr. Slave. 45 seconds in, by the way. Yeah, you are.
Oh, come on, Concave.
Yeah, keep preaching him the latest self-help you've been reading online.
I don't read self-help online, brother.
Okay, anyway, look.
I'm extremely, I'm not going to brag, but I'm extremely successful in life. And the reason for that.
Good for you. Bro, you're so egotistical. Why don't you hop off his nuts? Just wish him the best. Hop off his nuts. Why are you trying to change him?
I'm not egotistical.
You are. That's what you're fucking doing. And you're doing it in a forked tongue, split mouth, deceptive, lying fucking way. Yeah, you fucking are.
Jesus, Glory, calm down. Now your insecurities are showing.
Yeah,
look,
Nick,
I'm just
fuck
your
opinion, bud. You stick to your little echo chamber.
Yeah, please. Nobody wants to have their ears blown out. Sorry, Glory. Look, man, and the reason I bring that up, I'm not being boastful. I'm not being arrogant. The reason that I am successful in life is because when people tell me that I'm doing something stupid, when people tell me that my ideas are bad, when I'm at work and I'm building models for companies.
Now it's about you and your success in life. Lol, egocentric cosmology, ladies and
what the fuck does this have to do with cosmology, Glory? Chill the fuck out. If I go into work and I make a model and my mentor or my superior at work, someone that is more experienced than me, tells me it's not doing what it's supposed to do, it's not the right approach, it's not the right thing for the client, and I just say, no, you're wrong, I won't be great. I won't achieve anything. The whole point is that you have to recognize when you
students, take out your notebooks.
Please take notes, Glory. You would honestly probably benefit from it. When
it's like rolling a dice. You roll it, you unmute him, and you see what word comes out.
And that's not to say that there isn't.
Good student, Jesse. Good.
Jesus Christ. It's like Jesse, you know, like, I mean, you are incredibly talented, but like in so many different ways. And I value your opinion so much. It's like, if you tell me that I'm doing something wrong, like if we talk about interferometry and you correct me on interferometry, I'm going to listen to you. And then we're going to have a conversation and I'm going to try to figure out what the truth is. I haven't seen you do that, Mr. Slave. And the closest we got was earlier on Sean's show. You have this like block that like is preventing you from taking that feedback step and thinking about, okay, am I the one that's in the wrong here? And until you complete that loop, I don't know what the issue is. There's a variety of reasons that could be the case. You're not going to be the greatest person you can be.
Look, C-Line, I'm sorry that I have to repeat. I have a primary objective in life, and that is to have a good time.
It's to enjoy life. Yeah, and the second.
You don't listen, bro. You don't fucking
Listen to what he's saying, bro. Listen to what he's saying now.
No, the fact that he repeated it. The fact that he just repeated it like 4 times in a row is kind of weird.
The fact that we can say what he's going to say before he says it, tells us that we have been listening to him, but he hasn't been listening.
Could I ask Slade a question?
No, but I listened to C-Line. You know, I let him finish.
Yeah.
Oh, can I ask you a question, Slade?
Just before.
Can you respond? Can you respond after listening?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
C-Line, look.
No,
one second.
You mentioned that you're. Yeah, I have a question for you, Slade.
I want to first respond to C-Line with your permission.
But your responses take so long, and that's what my question is about.
I'd rather respond. I'd rather respond. I understand. Look, it's. I'll let you ask right after, because otherwise, we're never gonna. You know, I came back to the server. I went away. And I came back and I told something to C-Line, and this is very important. So my purpose in life, my primary objective is to have a good time. So if I'm here and I'm being harassed by you, C-Line, or by anyone else, even if...
When did I harass you?
Look, if you talk... Look, if you talk to the way you spoke to me, that's, for me, that's harassment. Because
and that's you being a bitch.
I told you.
That's you being a whiny little bitch.
Yes,
that can't take feedback.
Yes, negative spirits in play. There we have it.
Look, C-Line.
No, that's the truth, brother.
C-Line, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in the truth.
I mean, C-Line treating you a hell of a lot better than a bunch of us would.
Dude, like, here's the thing, man. It's not all about you either. Why do you think you can just like turn this VC into your like therapy session right now? Like, we're all hanging out, we're talking about physics, we're trying to have a conversation, and it's always about you.
Because of you guys. keep talking about him some more. That'll help.
Look,
We weren't
C-Line.
talking about it. We were talking about interferometry and flights and all kinds of other topics, and then he wants to interject to talk about his stupid theories again. And I'm sorry, they're dumb because you don't have the basis to identify theories in physics. You're not ready for that. You're doing a
Mr.
good
Slade,
job
if you do not
educating
know
yourself.
differential calculus, you're not gonna be doing shit with this. It's just that simple.
C-Line,
And
I didn't come
there's no
back
other way to
here.
put it.
I did not come back here to talk to you right now about physics. I came back here to talk to you about my personal experience. I mean, you can hear the recording. Everything is being streamed and recorded. I was talking and explaining to whoever to the recording why I came back here. It's because I'm back here because I just wanted to tell you about my personal experience on Discord. Well, on when you came to my server, it's always nice to me. Like everyone, basically 99% of the time, the people there are nice to me, and I've been very productive on that server, on my server. But when I
Okay,
go,
then don't hang out here. If you can't take the criticism, then don't hang out here, bro. It's that simple. Like we don't need you to be here. I would like you to be here, but I'm not just gonna like cater to you and turn this into like a therapy session when we're all just trying to have a conversation right now. I mean, it's like you got to grow up, buddy. You got to grow up.
Demons.
Look,
There's no demons in my heart, Concave.
Look, C-Line.
If you knew me, you would know that.
God willing.
Okay.
I just got here, and all I heard is someone calling you a whiny bitch. So that's all I heard so far.
Yeah. Well, it's just you got to have the context of the amount of whining that he's been doing for the last 12 hours.
Anyway, look, my point is that I'm not interested in the truth. I'm not interested in physics. I'm not interested in anything. I'm interested first and foremost in enjoying my life.
Okay, well
So what the fuck you doing on the internet then?
Yeah, just go fucking.
Go on and enjoy your goddamn life, man.
Yeah, go fucking. Like,
Yeah, go literally just go fucking. Go do your forced homosexuality.
consensually. Don't be respectful.
Yeah.
Like, I don't judge, man. I don't care what you do with your life. Have fun. But like, I don't understand why you're coming in here and demanding attention from all of us on a theory that we've shown you we don't think is legitimate. So you have two options.
Yeah, we know
Sorry, go
why.
ahead.
It's because he wants to enjoy his life. Number one. Didn't you know that? I don't know. Maybe.
Wait, does he want to enjoy his life?
I think he wants to enjoy his life.
He wants to enjoy his life.
Comment on this.
Is that like his primary goal or something?
You're right, Ron.
Oh, that's fucking
He
weird.
also wants to enjoy his life.
I don't know. I don't know
Like,
anybody wants to
Mr.
enjoy
Slade,
their
if
life.
you want to enjoy your life, get the fuck off of here. Discord is not where you enjoy your life. I'm
Yeah,
miserable right now.
it's full of grumpy old men that want to argue with each other.
That's right.
Literally what this is,
You
bro.
savage.
You like so let's
Go
do this.
for the house.
This
Oh,
is like
don't,
the next
don't,
dude's
don't, please,
girlfriend
let's
going
not
back
let's
to
not
it's
talk
not
about
where
Mr.
it's
Slave now again, Line. We
Okay,
moved
all right, so
on.
let's
We started
move on.
chuckling. Don't take it back now, please. Can you do what you asked for? Can we move on from him?
So let's do that then. And I ask you, I would like you to stay on the server. I think you have something to offer, but just like chill out and listen.
He's chill, bro. Quit playing Geo. Quit playing Geo, honestly.
Ooh,
And
that
by the
hurt.
way, Mr. Slev, I posted 2 articles on how a ring laser gyro works.
thank you. Before when I asked, I was being harassed and made a fool.
And
of.
okay,
God, dude.
and so I looked.
Damn it, Larry.
That's why I looked it up for you. Okay.
You made
That's
him
my
play
olive
his
branch.
violin again, Larry.
So let's just all move on from the meta. Let's stop. You have okay. That was actually weirdly appropriate. Let's move along from the meta, and let's get back to what was the topic of conversation. I don't even remember. Please,
Your mom.
Yeah,
Anyway,
my mom. Yeah,
Jesse, you had a question.
and just please, Mr. Slade, I care about you.
That was I'm moving on.
Listen to my advice. That's all I'm going to ask, and let's move on.
Okay,
Because
Jesse.
I think you have potential, but you're holding yourself
I guess
back.
we're not moving on.
And now let's move
All right,
on.
Marty. You said it enough now.
Jesse,
Let's
you
move
said
on.
you had a question. I promised to answer your question.
Just say moving on up.
Okay, Jesse's gone. Anyway, you had a question?
Yeah, Jesse, you're gone.
Did everyone hear my
You're gone,
I'm
man.
moving on by Inks? No.
Yeah.
Jesse, you had a question or
Sorry
no?
about that. Oh, I think, well, my question was, since you mentioned your first goal in life was to find, to make yourself happy, are you saying basically that it makes you happy to come here and bore us to death, and that's why you're doing it? You're making yourself happy at all of our expenses? Isn't that a little bit
that took a turn.
narcissistic?
No. I mean,
Didn't see that one coming.
no, I don't want to bore you.
But you are.
That's not.
That's what
That's not.
Yeah, that one wrapped up in a nice little bow.
He
Look,
did. He did.
yeah,
It was
if you find me, boring or not interesting or dumb, whatever, I'll take it. I'll make a note of it, and I guess I'll just. I look. It's not like
You
I.
can say it. Go ahead. You can say it.
No, I'm just saying. I'll leave and I'll never come back. I mean, I thought.
There you go.
Like I was invited
You
to
said
this
it.
server. No, I'm just saying I was invited to this server because there's supposedly, I was told, smart PhDs in math and physics who would give me feedback.
Well, someone lied to you.
I don't know.
I said there was a couple.
Okay.
There's a couple of people with PhDs.
So,
yeah.
look, I'm
Yeah.
interested. I'm just interested in
Doesn't take a
feedback,
PhD.
but this feedback comes at such a price to my well-being, to my happiness, that it's honestly.
Fuck, I'm a goat herder.
I'm a cow herder. That makes me a coward. If a goat herders.
Okay. Anyway,
I'm a cross between a goat and a
look,
cow.
what I'm saying is, I don't care about the truth. So.
Okay.
I care. I mean,
Yeah,
the truth to me is secondary to happiness. It's more
All
important
right.
to be happy.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, you said that before.
No, so just
This is new.
when you think that you're helping me,
Somebody's been
He's going
sipping.
on and on, isn't he?
if you think that you're
I
helping
think he's been
me,
gulping.
if you think that you're helping me,
Mr. Slade, before you
by
leave, I posted that thing. Could you say that one more time?
but if you think that you're helping me, by
That's
hurting my feelings,
Just one more time before you leave. Could you read that with
so
feeling?
Sea Lion,
Yes.
it's
Say
mainly
it
for
needs
you.
more cowbell.
Sea Lion, it's mainly for you. If you think that you're helping me by hurting me, then no, you're not helping me by hurting me. You're hurting me.
That isn't what he was saying.
Well,
he never
I
said
am.
that
You know what,
once.
Mr. Slave? I am helping you by hurting you, and your inability to
I'm not.
understand that,
I'm not
your
interested.
inability to understand that is why you're not going to grow as a person.
I'm not interested in being hurt.
It's called
No.
tough love.
It's
I'm not
called
It's called
interested.
tough love.
I'm not
It's called
interested.
life.
I'm not
It's called life.
interested. I'm not.
You strike me as a spoiled child that never was told no
Oh,
about
no.
anything.
Anyway, I'm
And
not interested.
it's fun, it's
Sea
fun.
Lion,
So,
I'm not
okay,
interested.
so, all right, so
Strikes
move
me as a
on.
child told no
Yeah,
about
I'll
everything,
just look.
actually.
I'll just
But
move
I'd
on.
be
I'm
curious.
just letting you know. I'm just letting you know. Look, I'm not interested. So this is just harassment. It's just bullying.
Okay.
All right.
They're
Bye.
sticking around for it,
Ooh.
man.
There we go.
Done.
Just read
Wonder
that.
if he knows.
before you
You think
leave.
he knows yet?
Do I know what?
read that
No,
quick
he's just
before you
server
leave.
muted.
Oh, they muted
He
me.
won't read it.
So you can
God,
read that.
Wow.
you're over talking, McTurn.
Wait, what?
Some people just don't want accountability. That's all it is.
Wait, why did he mute me?
No, he just wants to have fun. That's it, guys. All right, let's move on. Move on.
Like all the
What
other
were we
girls.
talking about? We were talking about interesting stuff. How's it going, Scott Mackey?
Wow. Yeah, okay, I'm gone. This server. I don't want to kill the server, but I don't see the point at this point. That's the end of that. Yeah. The server has served its purpose. I'm not interested. It's too violent. It's too vile. These people are just terrible. It's like they stab me in the heart. Oh, we're just helping you. Yeah, it's for you. It's for your benefit that we're stabbing you in the heart. Unbelievable. Atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. Anyway, let's watch some YouTube. Just watching YouTube is probably the best thing I can do. Just study physics and move on. I wish it were different, but I don't see it. Wow. What a terrible experience. Jesus. Oh my God.
Right? You don't fluff a line in the first 10 seconds and leave that in. I can see, right? So
Well, literally is like 8 seconds. It put in a dream. It was crazy, Mike. And then afterwards,
Then you call.
Times.
I don't want to meta. I don't want to meta.
What
if you're trying to disprove,
we
don't automatically get special relativity.
At wave.
Tried to do that exact thing in the late 1800s by suggesting.
An abstract quite like that before.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm looking forward to that.
Okay.
All right. Basically, so yeah, that's good. The proof of the second postulate is the. Yeah. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, welcome. How are you? If you guys are not subscribed to MC2, then please do that. Otherwise, we will send down your pack directly to your home.
You don't want that.
No. You can spend them in advance.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
See you later, buddy.
So I was on his show, and again, nothing but abuse. Unbelievable.
Mr. Slade, hello, welcome. How are you? Make sure your audio's on there, buddy.
Yeah, is my audio better?
There we go. How you doing?
Fantastic. How are you?
Living the dream.
That's amazing. So yeah, do you have any questions about my two papers? I don't know. Maybe it's because these people are gay. I don't know what's making them so violent. Just like just the beginning. There's many more papers in the pipeline.
Well, why don't you talk us through it?
All right. What's
really
more?
I can bring up on screen for you. You can show everybody. Okay.
All right. So yeah, that's good. The proof of the second postulate is the most fun. I would say the most foundational. So basically, if you assume ether, you automatically get special relativity, whether you like it or not. So special relativity, it's actually just wave dynamics. So if you assume an ether fluid filling the universe, that is the medium through which light travels, that light waves as per Maxwell, then immediately you get like you would never imagine that somebody comes up with a revolutionary, simplified, unified physics, and they would have to suffer so much just to talk about it. This is unfortunately so similar to the stories of Galileo and Bernardo Giovanni that was burnt at the stake. Like, what do people with ideas need to go through? Jesus. Endless pain. Wait, the news roundup? Oh, 4 hours ago.
The surgery. We'll see.
this morning, the Lebanese army, the glorious Lebanese army, also evacuated South Lebanon. They don't want to get into a fight with Israel. They have no interest in war with Israel. They are just getting out of the way, and they're going to go to the other side of the Litani, and they're going to sit in the jeeps and watch Israel and Hezbollah go at it. They have no interest in intervening here. So literally, we saw this morning Lebanese military jeeps and troop carriers heading north, away from the border, basically leaving the territory for Israel and Hezbollah to deal with. At some point, it would be nice if the Lebanese army had the balls and had the equipment and had the facilities to actually challenge Hezbollah in addition to Israel. They want Israel to do all the heavy lifting. They want Israel to do all the work. But ultimately, the beneficiary of this will be the Lebanese. And the Lebanese army should be there to protect the Lebanese people from, among others, Hezbollah, which is a state within a state. Again, isn't this like anarcho-capitalism again? Like you've got competing militaries, you've got the Lebanese military, you've got the Hezbollah military. Okay.
1 second, let me go get some gum.
Similarly, a silver atom will have a bunch of protons in its nucleus that give an electric charge, a positive electric charge, and a bunch of electrons orbiting around that nucleus, giving it a net zero electric charge. The silver atom is exceptionally special in the sense that it has one outermost electron in its 5s orbital. And so essentially, all of the spin
I guess you got these really military, and they're all kind of occupying almost the same land. And when they disagree, they use mediators and rational means by which to disagree. And violence is really, really, really the last resort because rational people never do violence. So that's what the anarcho-capitalists tell us. It turns out no. It turns out the bad guys use violence, and somebody has to suppress it. And yeah, you need a monopoly of use of force, but they don't seem to have it. Anyway, so the Lebanese military is out of there. Israel, the rumors are, I have no inside information here, but rumors are that Israel, over the last few days, weeks, maybe years, has been using special forces operations to go into southern Lebanon and prepare the ground for the ultimate movement of tanks and heavier equipment. They've been going in and I guess booby-trapping putting booby traps on some of the tunnels of the Hezbollah, destroying munitions, figuring out where Hezbollah is, where it isn't. In other words, preparing the field so when Israel finally does go into southern Lebanon, it does not suffer from too many casualties as a consequence. So that is special forces, Israeli special forces, have been in southern Lebanon for quite a while now. And again, working to prepare the ground for this Israeli, I can't say invasion. What was it again? It was limited something, limited, localized, and targeted. Wait. So here's what one commentator says about this. The way the statement from the Israeli Defense Force was worded, this appears to be exactly what U.S. officials were saying it would be, a limited operation. There likely won't be any goal yet of territory control or capture. With it possible, the Israeli forces will have already withdrawn by Tuesday morning. this is pure appeasement of the Americans. And again, the commentator continues to say, though this is likely only a prelude to future major operations against Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, possibly up to the Litani River. Why? They don't need a initial operation. Once you have tanks in the field, why withdraw them? The special ops have been preparing the ground already. This is just appeasement of Biden. And it's pathetic. It's cowardly. It's cowardly of Biden. Biden was asked at a press conference earlier today, Biden, are you aware that Israel is preparing for a land invasion of Lebanon? He says, I'm more aware than you know, kind of with his, I gave it a lot more energy than he could muster. But he said something like, I'm more aware than you know. And what we need is a ceasefire now. It's so frustrating. And it's not Biden, because I don't think Biden can think. I don't think the mechanism can work. It's just people. He's surrounded by advisors who are basically telling him that only negotiations, only ceasefires, only diplomacy works. Military action never works. Look at what happened in American Iraq, what happened in American Afghanistan. We had a question about this yesterday. Diplomacy. That's all they know. That's all they can think. That's all they can imagine. And these people would be demanding a ceasefire like every month during World War II. Let's ceasefire. Let's negotiate with Hitler. Let's find common ground. It's got to be common ground. We need time. We need time. This war might escalate. And not to mention, imagine Biden's advisors in World War II go, oh God, if we continue like this, Hitler will build a nuclear bomb and bomb Washington D.C. We can't do this. We got to have a ceasefire. We got to have time to catch up. Instead, to FDR's credit, only credit he's going to get from me, the United States engaged in all-out total war and committed itself to building the mightiest military force humanity had ever seen in order to defeat one of the most, if not the most, evil regimes humanity had ever seen, and went out and built that force and destroyed that regime and won the war. So, that is that is the insanity of this perspective. And look, Biden has been saying ceasefire for 11 and a half months, since October 7th. He keeps saying Israel has a right to defend itself. And then in the next breath, we need a ceasefire. We need to cut the deal. We need to negotiate with terrorists. It's just disheartening that this guy is president of the United States and that his acolyte, Kamala Harris, might be president of the United States soon. And that the alternative is Donald Trump, an even more offensive human being. All right. Let's see. What do we want to? So we're going to track what's going on. Israel, in the meantime, has been bombing missile locations inside Beirut. Isn't it shocking? Right next to the airport in Beirut, the international airport, planes flying in and out. There are massive depots of arms. Yesterday, they destroyed a big.
They're all gay. They're all gay. That server is all gay. This whole community is gay.
On depot of land to sea missiles. That went up in smoke. Today they've been blowing up other ammunition. And you can tell it's ammo because there's a boom and then there's boom, 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 all the ammunition going off. They continue to target senior officials in Hezbollah. Salafuddin indeed was appointed today as the new leader of Hezbollah, as I said he would be yesterday. They are continuously also bombing Hezbollah and Iranian affiliated targets within Syria. Just 4 minutes ago, there were reports of explosions and air defense activity over the Syrian capital of Damascus. Israel is very active over there. Again, if you're interested in this topic, I highly recommend you listen to yesterday's show, where I kind of analyze it from a regional perspective, identify Iran as a source of all problems, and identify a war with Iran as ultimately inevitable. Anyway, that is where we are. So we will keep track. I'm hopeful that the Israelis are selling. The Israelis are selling this operation to the Americans as a limited, but really this is the operation to kick Hezbollah out of southern Lebanon. Kind of, I won't say for good, but for now to really do it thoroughly and properly. And we will see how this all pans out, and I'll keep you updated as we go along. By the way, let's leave it at that for now. All right, let's see. That is that story. Yeah, let's let me get this out of the way. Let's talk a little bit about free speech. I'm not gonna give you a big thing about the importance of free speech. I think you've all heard me talk about this in the past. I've given talks about the crucial nature of free speech to Western civilization, the crucial role of free speech in Western civilization. There is no civilization without free speech. It is essential for free society, or any kind of free society. And yet, on the one hand, because of the internet, because of our courts, because of the internet, we have more opportunities for speech today than we've ever had before. We can express ourselves. We can express ourselves in front of people. There's more press today in a sense of outlets of opinion and outlets of so-called news, some of it real, some of it not, than ever before. It's also true that the Supreme Court today seems to be protective of particularly political speech more than it has in the American past. So we live in a golden age in many respects of free speech in terms of legal protections. While during COVID and probably during many other opportunities, the U.S. government has interfered or tried to interfere in the running of social media companies. At the end of the day, it was limited in scope, limited in time frame, and when it came out, it was roundly denounced. And while the courts have not ruled on this yet definitively, I think it's clear that if, to the extent that it is shown that the government is untwisting social media into limiting speech, the courts are going to restrict the government's ability to do so. That is, I think, the trend in the courts and in the Supreme Court. Although I was disappointed in the ruling, I think one has to view the rulings that they had about the social media in the context of, I don't know, the way they didn't rule on the content. They didn't rule on substance. I think on the substance, they are supportive of free speech. At the same time, you've got politicians both on the left and on the right, basically undermining or wanting to undermine, speech. The left, in particular, these days, is coming out against, fake news, misinformation, and the need to regulate speech to eliminate misinformation, whatever the hell that is, and whoever they think should be deciding what is right information and what is fake. And you've seen this, and there've been some comments from Kamala, and I'll show you a clip from John Kerry in a minute. And the right, while claiming to be pro-free speech, because they feel like they're the ones being censored by the government indirectly, claim to be pro-free speech. There's some indication that they really are. Trump doesn't believe in free speech at all. Everything he did in his first term suggests that he doesn't. His threatening of the media, threatening of the Washington Post, and just 2 days ago, his threat towards Google. I mean, this is what he said about Google. It has been determined, he wrote, that Google has illegally used the system of only revealing and displaying bad stories about Donald J. Trump, some made up for this purpose, while at the same time only revealing good stories about Comrade Kamala Harris. This is an illegal activity. If the Justice Department does not criminally prosecute Google for election interference, he will request a prosecution at the maximum levels if he's elected president. So I don't know what illegal activity he's talking about, election interference or something. I don't know what law can determine what Google can and cannot rank stories, or who determines what's a positive story and what's a negative story. Imagine if we got to sue Google, the government sued Google for what they display and the order in which they display. So, Trump is basically, again, denouncing the media, coming after the media, and threatening that he will use the Justice Department to go after media. And on the other side of his mouth, he comes out and says, I'm for free speech. I will not allow the government to intervene in speech, when he's arguing that the government should intervene in speech. So, and I'm not even going to get into J.D. Vance and the National Conservative Movement, which is clearly not pro-free speech. They want to limit speech to the speech appropriate to shaping the moral character of people. I mean, they are big fans of Orban, not exactly a free speech champion. But what John Kerry said, which I'm going to show you now, is really scary, just because of how he says it and kind of the explicit nature of what he says. So I want to show you this. Can you guys see that? I think you can. All right, so this is John Kerry at some Impact meeting 2024. I don't know what this is, some panel discussion. He's being asked about something, and it's just a 2-minute clip. I probably won't let it go for 2 minutes, but here we go.
And I think the dislike of and anguish over social media is just growing and growing and growing. And it's part of our problem, particularly in democracies, in terms of...
And I guess the problem is that this is growing, and people he doesn't like, and people he doesn't agree with, and people of a different political orientation, his and mine, are winning, and that's not good. That's not good. Something has to be done.
Building consensus around any issue.
So you can't build consensus anymore because people disagree, and when they disagree, they can actually get on social media and spread their disagreement, and it becomes, it goes global, goes viral. People can actually express themselves and say, we don't agree with the consensus. And social media, I think more than anything, is revealing the fact that maybe there was never consensus to begin with. Maybe we've always been disagreeable. It's just now we have the opportunity to express that disagreement, and that social media provides us with, and before we didn't have it. Anyway. Oops, come on.
It's really hard to govern today.
Oh. Tears. I'm really getting emotional here. It really is hard to govern today. It's really hard to govern today. Why? Because people disagree with you. Now, it's true. Some people who disagree with you make up stuff. They I don't know something about Haitians eating cats, illegal immigrants eating cats, and being violent criminals and all of that. They make stuff up on a regular basis. That is indeed the case. But It's really, really hard to govern. Isn't that a good thing? Isn't that a pro-freedom thing, that it's hard to govern? And you have to make a special effort really to make the case, to create consensus and make the case for whatever policies you want to govern? I mean, here it is. He's commiserating about how hard it is to get elected first. There's all this opposition. And then it's really hard to govern because can't get consensus because people who disagree with me have a platform. They never used to have a platform. It just was the New York Times, Washington Post, a few other newspapers, and maybe ABC, CBS, NBC, and that was it. And we could somehow control all that and form a consensus. And now there's a gazillion different types of media. Some of them make it up, some of them conspiracy theories, but some of them are just disagree with us. And it's not like it used to be. It used to be so easy to govern. You know who has an easy time governing? Well, the Chinese have an easy time governing because they have one basically media outlet that control everything. Orban in Hungary has an easy way to govern because he basically controls all the media and everybody just says what he mouths. And of course, we know the government-mandated media, government-controlled media always tells us the truth. There's never misinformation. There's never any mischaracterization. There's never any fake news. They just tell us the way it is. And John Kerry's complaining because we, the people, have a voice. Now, I can understand complaining about the fact that when we, the people, have a voice, it turns out that we're not that educated. We don't, I mean, I'm not talking about me or the people listening to this show, but generally the people out there, they're not educated. They don't know what they're talking about. Yeah, this is why democracy is such a dangerous game. But this is a guy who claims to be for democracy, who claims to be fighting for democracy. This is all about democracy. And yet it turns out democracy is very, very messy because you're dealing with a bunch of pretty ignorant people who don't agree with you. And what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And, you know, and this is why I'm not for unlimited democracy. Democracy has to be very, 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 very much constrained. Our representatives, first of all, the representatives, we don't have direct democracy. And secondly, our representatives should only be able to vote on very, very narrow things. We should be free as individuals in our lives to make decisions for ourselves and not have to get a vote of people about everything that we do. Because if we did, yeah, it's very difficult to get a consensus. Luckily, you don't need a consensus to live. You just need to abide by one basic principle legally, and that is not violate other people's rights. And other than that, do as you will, in a sense. Use your mind to pursue your values, hopefully by use of reason. But that doesn't need consensus. And indeed, governing, you know, it should be so limited. It should be so restrained. There should be so few things that, yeah, you should have to devote real effort in real time to convincing the American people that the things you think are important, that the government needs to do, they should agree with. You should build that consensus, but it should be over very few issues. Anyway, this guy is complaining because it's hard to control us, because we have too much of a voice. And if you're not yet convinced that he's talking about our voices, if you're not yet convinced that he's talking about free speech, wait.
Really hard to govern today. You can't, there's no, the referees we used to have to determine what's a fact and what isn't a fact are kind of, been eviscerated to a certain degree.
The referees, what's a fact and what isn't a fact? Now, the only referee I know of is me. For me, you guys have to be your own referees. It is true that the media has become more and more biased and therefore has eviscerated itself from being the so-called objective fact checker. And yeah, it would be nice. It would be amazing to have media that was objective, but that is not the fault of social media. That is the New York Times, Washington Post, and major news organizations defaulting on their responsibility to attempt, never mind to be, but to attempt to be objective. And the consequence of that is the rise of competitors. Lots of them. Some of them good. I know, the Free Press by Barry Weiss, the Dispatch, others, and some of them horrible. You know, the regular names that you all know. But it's, to bemoan that the referees, I mean, it's the referee's fault. The media's fault. It's absolutely true. That, again, it would be great to live in a world where we didn't have to question every single thing we read in the news, because today you really have to. I wouldn't have to double check everything I read in the news. It would be nice to live in that world. We don't live in that world, and we haven't lived in that world for a very long time. And the fault for that is not with the wacky, crazy nutcases on Twitter. The fault for that is with the New York Times, who has betrayed us.
And people go and then people self-select where they go for their news or for their information, and then you just get into a vicious cycle.
But isn't it pretty amazing that now people can self-select instead of getting the same perspective, the same bias, the same orientation from the same news sources day in, day out, which is what happened pre-1980s. You didn't have talk radio even. You had 3 television networks, and you had a few major newspapers, and that was it. The first thing to break that was talk radio and Fox. And then the internet comes along, and it opens it up. And what we really need, and what is needed in America, is news organizations that attempt, at least, to be objective. And by the way, attempt to be objective means, I think that we have some. Again, I think this is, CNN also came about in the 1980s. Attempt to be objective is what the Free Press, the Dispatch, and others that have joined the media landscape are trying to do. Anybody who thinks Twitter is trying to be objective is crazy. Twitter has no opinion. Or that Elon Musk even is trying to be objective. He's got an agenda. Twitter is just a source of different points of view and different perspectives and different stuff. It's up to you to figure it out. So new news organizations are being formed to compete. How good they are or not, we will see. We will see.
So it's really, really hard, much harder to build consensus today than at any time in the 45, 50 years I've been involved in this.
And again, note how important consensus is to him, because consensus is required to rule us, to govern us, but in a form of ruling, because consensus means majority, consensus means legitimacy, consensus means the ability to tell us what we can and cannot do.
And there's a lot of discussion now about how you curb those entities in order to guarantee that you're going to have some accountability on facts, et cetera.
So to curb social media, to make them accountable for facts and stuff. Are we going to curb other forms of media as well to make them accountable? And how do you do that? Well, we know how you do that. You create a federal agency for truth seeking. The Biden administration tried to do that. You remember early on in his administration, they tried to have a truth department, and that was killed very quickly because of the backlash against that. But this is what they want. This is where they're heading. This is what they're moving forward. Yeah, Eutychus reminds us that Ayn Rand wrote an important piece called "Fascist New Frontier: Rule by Consensus." Yep.
But look, if people go to only one source and the source they go to is sick and has an agenda and they're putting out disinformation, our First Amendment stands as a major block to the ability to be able to.
Let me do that again. Sorry. This is not responding the way I'd like it to.
Disinformation. Our First Amendment stands as a major block to the ability to be able to just, hammer it out of existence. So,
did you hear what he just said? So somebody goes and just listens to one news source, and it happens to be misinformation as defined by John Kerry. The First Amendment is blocking the ability of the government to hammer that source, misinformation, disinformation, out of existence. And it's terrible. We have this First Amendment thing, and it doesn't allow the government to hammer out of existence. Hammer.
Wow.
He's not afraid of using force. Hammer out of existence. And he's going to decide. This is the Department of Truth. Is going to decide what is appropriate, what is misinformation, what is fake news, what is appropriate, what is needed in order to reach consensus. Yeah, I mean, that is about an explicit indication of just disregard for freedom of speech and a willingness, I think, to get rid of the First Amendment, though he never says so explicitly. That actually, this is the left using the idea. I mean, in Europe, in order to restrict free speech, they use the idea of hate speech. In America, it's pretty well understood. You're not going to get away with that. Hate speech, you can. So here they're using as an excuse, a major excuse to get rid of free speech, the idea of misinformation and fake news. And by the way, again, this is the left. This is John Kerry, him speaking off the cuff. I'm sure he regrets saying this now. But this is the inclination of Trump. This is J.D. Vance. This is Josh Hawley. This is the left. This is the right and left against uniting around this idea that we have to hammer away at fake news. Now, they define fake news in an opposite way. The left is fake news to the right. The right, mainstream media is fake news to the right. I don't know who fake news is to the left. Anybody to the right of the New York Times, I guess, is fake news to the left. And they want to hammer it away. Listen to that again.
if people go to only one source and the source they go to is sick, and, has an agenda, and they're putting out disinformation, our First Amendment stands as a major block to the ability to be able to just, hammer it out of existence. So
thank God for blocks. Thank God for blocks. Yeah, I mean, I know Trump has said similar stuff, although Kerry's more intellectual than Trump, so he'll actually put it in terms of the First Amendment.
What we need is to win the ground, win the right to govern by hopefully having winning enough votes that you're free to be able to implement change.
So winning enough votes, so you're free to implement change. Now, what change would change things? I mean, how many votes do you need to repeal the First Amendment? Because the First Amendment is a block you can't get around by passing a law. It's a block that you can only get around by changing the Constitution, I think. So how many votes does he think he needs?
Now, obviously, there are some people in our country who are prepared to implement change in other ways. And
that's your question, really, if democracy can survive
I
unregulated
think,
social media.
I think democracies are very challenged right now and have not proven they can move fast enough or big enough to deal with the challenges that we are facing.
In other words, democracies cannot move fast enough and deal fast enough with freedom. So the only way for democracies to deal with all this information, all this freedom, is by restricting our freedoms. That's the solution, of course. It's truly unbelievable.
And to me, that is part of what this race, this election is all about. Will we break the fever in the United States?
I mean, this is why it's very hard to be optimistic about the future of politics in the United States, given the choices that we're seeing here. And not just the explicit choices on the ballot, but these are the people behind the choices, the ideas behind the people behind the choices. Where is anybody talking about liberty and freedom and all of that? Yeah, it's very, very, very discouraging because, again, there's nothing more important in terms of our freedoms than protecting our freedom to speak, to disagree, to challenge the consensus, to break the consensus. And yet, John Kerry, representing, I think, the left, and this is the guy I actually voted for. Ugh, how scary is that? Again, the choices that were given. God, I had to choose between him and George Bush. And like by 2004, I hated Bush so much for just sending our kids into by basically sending our kids into situations where they had to die for nothing, and engaged in a war with no purpose, no clarity, no strategy in Afghanistan and in Iraq, and not doing what was necessary to actually defend America. I hated Bush so much that I voted for John Kerry, and of course, John Kerry is like a devil, a real devil. I mean, this is his view of free speech. If you want to destroy America, this is the view of free speech you must have. I don't need to be absolved. I really do not need to be absolved. I am completely at peace with my voting record, as unimpressive as it happens to be. That looks like Israel just assassinated somebody in a vehicle in Damascus. I like this idea that the bad guys now cannot drive a car, they cannot be in an apartment, they cannot even be in a bunker because Israel has the capabilities and ability to find them out, seek them out, and destroy them and kill them. Pretty stunning events continue to come out of Israel and Lebanon. All right, let's see. Yeah, lots of stuff going on about Damascus right now. What do we want? Yes. Next story. Here's Mary Eileen who says, what Kerry actually means is, quote, it's really hard to force those ignorant communists to toe the line if they have free speech, unquote. He is such a bastard. I think bastard is too nice of a term, but yes. All right, let's see. Have I ever voted for a candidate who actually won? No, I've never voted for anybody who's won. There you go. Okay, so starting, when is it? Tomorrow or later this week, we have a strike. The entire East Coast ports, all East Coast ports and ports in in the Gulf are going on strike. No more container ships coming or going. No unloading, no loading of container ships. This is basically going to put a standstill to much imports and export activity in the United States. 40% of the import-export stuff goes through California, primarily the port in Los Angeles. But much of the rest goes through the East Coast. So this is a huge drag on the U.S. economy to have this strike happen. It not only affects consumer goods that are imported, but it also affects material that then is used in the United States for production. It's very difficult to import. And I'm sure a lot of shippers will find ways around it. They'll go to Mexico and then ship it from Mexico. That increases cost quite a bit. They'll maybe go to Canada and ship it from Canada. Again, costly and time-consuming. But this is a major impediment to the U.S. economy. Now, why is the strike happening? Well, what is the union demanding? Well, first, they're demanding much higher wages. Now, just to be clear, wages for ports, blue-collar port jobs is in excess of $200,000. Let me just say that again, $200,000. This is hard work. There's a risk factor. The $200,000 includes overtime. It's union, so they've negotiated good wages, but they want this to be much higher. Now, what is the way in which we increase wages go up in a market economy? They go up when productivity increases. You bring in automation, you bring in productivity-enhancing mechanisms, and wages of employees go up. But that's exactly what the strike is about. Not only do the workers want higher wages, significantly higher wages, but they also want a, quote, total ban on automation of cranes, gates, and container movements that are used in the loading or unloading of freight at 36 U.S. ports. I think I wrote another essay called The Divine Right of Stagnation. These people want stagnation. They insist on stagnation, and yet they expect to get paid more. They want more for being less productive. Now, I can understand if they develop the skills to use automation, there would be fewer employees. Automation would require a lot fewer people working at the docks. But those people who worked at the docks would probably earn even more money because they would now be more productive. But no, they want no automation of cranes, gates, and container movements. So no robots, no self-driving trucks, no acting cranes, gates can work in clickers. They want no automation. I mean, maybe you guys, when you go to the office tomorrow, you should tell people, I refuse to use a computer. I want my typewriter. I demand a typewriter. And by the way, I want to be paid more. I want more money, and I refuse to use state-of-the-art equipment. You want me to use ChatGPT? No ChatGPT. I want to go research everything myself. I want an encyclopedia. I demand an encyclopedia. Hell with Google. I mean, this is truly astounding. But of course, this is part of the course for unions. Unions have always objected to automation. They've always objected to advancement. They've always objected to, in a sense, improved productivity, and therefore the way in which they would rise in wages. They are real Luddites. One of the greatest inventions of the 20th century, yeah, and I'm serious, one of the greatest inventions of the 20th century is the container. It revolutionized shipping, globalized trade, and drove the cost of shipping, drove the cost of trade to negligible amounts. Before container ships, it cost nearly $6 a ton to load a cargo vessel by hand. With containers, that cost went from $6 to 16 cents. 16 cents. That's what, 99% decrease? I've done the math. In April 1956, out of the port of Newark, the first container vessel was launched, which was a milestone in American industrial efficiency. It changed global trade. It changed the way we move things around the country. It changed trucking. It changed shipping. It changed delivery. It revolutionized movement of cargo and drove, as I said, costs down to a fraction of what they were. And just with that fact, dramatically increased the standard of living of Americans. On that day in April 1956, when this first vessel launched, a top official of the International Longshoremen's Association, the union who represents East Coast dock workers, looked on in horror. I'm actually reading from the New York Times article. This is better New York Times. According to newspaper accounts of the day,
of the silver atom. Quantum mechanics predicts that particles with a spin angular momentum of h over 4 particles like silver atoms have only two observable values of angular momentum in any direction. That is h over 4 pi and minus h over 4 pi. In terms of angles with respect to which that spin angular momentum vector is pointing, we can either measure it at 0 degrees or 180 degrees.
he said he would like to sink the ship using an expletive to underscore his point. I continue quoting from the article. The same union is now threatening to strike at Newark and more than a dozen other major ports that collectively handle roughly half the imports reaching the United States. Among the key issues holding up the contract, which expires on Monday, is disagreement over the pace and scope of automation. Day 10. So, and by the way, this is saying imports. What about all the exports? Okay, don't forget the exports. They've always opposed automation. They opposed the container ship. And for a long time, employment in the ports decreased significantly. And yet, over the last 25 years, the number of employees at ports has increased from 41,000 to 64,000. That's an increase of 56%. Now, with more automation, that number will decrease again. That's the way the world works. And those people who are left, those people who stay workers, will make more money because they'll be more productive. Unions fight progress. They fight the future. They fight for preserving the past. In that sense, they are conservatives. They're the ultimate conservatives. They want to conserve what is. They refuse to accept the future. They refuse to accept technology. There's a pair of shipping terminals in Los Angeles and Long Beach, which is the largest port in America. When they were introduced, these new automated shipping terminals, they eliminated about 15% of the 13,000 jobs that existed. Yeah, I mean, there's no question. Automation reduces local jobs, increases jobs overall, it reduces local jobs. And the higher the pay you demand, the more automation is appealing. This is why McDonald's is becoming automated, because minimum wage gets so expensive that it's much easier to have a computer iPad in the front of a McDonald's than it is to put a human being there if you have to pay them $20 an hour. All right, so as you listen to the news about the dock strike and the poor dock workers, remember that what they're really fighting for is to stagnate. Just a quick story. You remember those two crazies who hate oil, hate fossil fuels, who want us to stop civilization completely by eliminating all carbon fuels? And they go and they find these paintings, and they throw soup, or they paint over them, or things like that. This is, usually the paintings have glass, so they're not destroying the painting, but they're destroying property. Suddenly they're disrupting the ability of people to enjoy that property. Well, in some cases, people are getting tough with them. So Phoebe and Anna, who threw soup at the glass frame of Van Gogh's Sunflower, have just received a sentence of 2 years and 20 months in prison, in jail, for doing that. They were then they got another 3 months for marching in a road, demonstrating, I guess, illegally. Yeah, I mean, this is great. Maybe we're getting serious. Maybe there's some judges out there are serious about, protecting property rights, protecting us from crazies who will throw stuff at paintings and just try to destroy or destroy our ability to enjoy art. So, somebody says it should be the death penalty on Twitter. I don't think that's the case, but I certainly think a 3-year sentence is good and will act as a deterrent on these spoiled brats, typically upper middle class kids who have nothing else better to do, who are engaged in nihilistic behavior. All right, finally, in the category of amazing news, not just good news. A 25-year-old woman with type 1 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes basically makes you completely dependent on insulin injections. And, has started to produce her own insulin less than 3 months after receiving a transplant of reprogrammed stem cells. So her own stem cells were taken. They were reprogrammed to become insulin-producing cells, and they were injected back into her. And now she doesn't have type 1 diabetes anymore. She's the first person with the disease to be treated using cells that were extracted from her own body. She says, I can eat sugar now. This is from a story in Nature. I can eat sugar now. I enjoy eating everything. And it's an amazing story. They completely reversed diabetes in this patient. And this is a patient who required constant insulin injections beforehand. The study showing this was published in Cell a few days ago. It's coming out of China, so these are Chinese scientists. And it follows up on another study from also from China, reported in April, that they successfully transplanted insulin-producing inslets into the liver of a 49-year-old man with type 2 diabetes. The inslets were also derived from reprogrammed stem cells taken from the man's own body, and he has since stopped taking insulin. I mean, if this is, replicable, if this is shown to work on large populations, I mean, this is basically a cure for diabetes, and diabetes is one of the most prevalent diseases out there. Type 2 diabetes is growing massively in the United States, all over the world, really. And if we can now get rid of it by reprogramming stem cells and injecting them back into the body, I mean, again, this is one of those things that we're just starting to see benefits of these new technologies. And now, there's also, large studies being done right now where they are, doing this with donor stem cells, so not their own stem cells, other people's stem cells. Preliminary trials from one trial, shows a dozen participants with type 1 diabetes received these inslets derived from donated embryonic stem cells. They were injected into the liver. They were all treated with immunosuppressants because they're not their cells. 3 months after the transplant, all participants began producing insulin when glucose was present in the bloodstream. I mean, this is pretty amazing stuff. And so now you have to program the stem cells. It's not just injecting stem cells. You have to actually program them. You have to encode them for the production of insulin. I mean, if this is real and if this is scalable, then this is a massive revolution. What else can we get the body to do that it stopped doing? What else can we instruct the body through stem cells to get them to? I mean, this is one more way in which we can start reprogramming the body against disease, reprogramming the body to fight disease more effectively, but even reprogramming the body against aging and reverse potentially the effects of aging. So It would be nice if I could inject something and that it would go in and fix my shoulder. Actually, I think for that, you would need one of these nanobots. You need these little robots you'd inject into the shoulder, and they would go in and they would pull my muscle and they would tie it up and they would anchor it to the bone with little screws. Right now, the surgeon has to go in and do that, but imagine you just injected little nanobots that did that. That would be pretty cool. Anyway, exciting technology. If you add up the mRNA vaccines and stem cells and everything else, there is just a ton of super exciting stuff going on in the field of medicine that, you know, should make a lot of us, particularly those of you young out there, optimistic about your prospects for living to very old age, disease-free, which is huge. All right, that is the news from Monday, September 30th. Let us turn to our super chat. Remember, you can ask questions in the super chat. This is your part of the show. Keep asking. We raised kind of the amount that we allocate for raising for the first hour. Very old.
I just came back from giving a talk to my old high school. And I asked the students whether they thought that they were bad at maths. And basically, everyone put up their hand. I mean, I expected a fair few number of hands, but not that many. Which really sucks because I used to think of myself as bad at maths when I was in high school. And that really helped me back for ages as well. But now I have a PhD in maths. I've told the story before on YouTube, and one of the questions I get asked the most is, well, did you go back? Did you go and tell those teachers who told you weren't good at maths that, you know, whatever became of you? Well, the answer was always no. I didn't feel the need to because I didn't want to rub it in anyone's face. I know that teaching maths is not an easy thing, and I don't blame those teachers for, you know, not believing in me because I really wasn't doing well in maths back in those days. And so it's like, I don't know, I guess understandable that they didn't think anything would come of me. But then one of the teachers who I really like at the school asked me to come back and give this talk, and I was wondering, like, what could I tell these students that would be helpful to them? And I was also thinking, what could I tell these teachers that would be helpful to them? And the thing I decided was to talk about maths and maths ability, and how I don't think that the way that students and teachers think about maths ability is very healthy, and it doesn't lead to good outcomes for the students. So the thing is, when I went there, I realized that most of the teachers who had been a little bit discouraging had actually retired, and the teachers who were still there were the ones who were super, super nice to me and had been really, really encouraging.
As some of you may know, this is called the Forever Pen. It's an inkless pen that writes on almost anything a pen could write on. But it's not a pencil. The lines that it makes can't be erased. And because it uses no ink, it can actually write underwater even. Watch this. Put the paper under the water. Can still write on it just fine. The first person who walks up and says hi, they get a computer.
Are you Linus?
Yeah, hi.
I love your videos.
Oh, thank you. I'm giving that computer to the first person who recognizes me on the street. You might need to get an Uber or a taxi or something. I can give you some cash to take a cab. Enjoy your computer. The first person who walks up and says hi, they get a...
What happens if you use a 22-karat gold plate to cool your CPU? This commenter has been requesting this experiment for over a year straight, and he's literally not capping. This is how...
Every action by every human on Earth is recorded and then sent here to be assigned a point value based on the absolute moral worth of that action. For example, a couple in Osaka, Japan just decided to have a destination wedding. Negative 1,200 points. Ah, here's fun. This means that someone has just done something which has never been done before.
Richard Moore of Sugar Land, Texas, hollowed out an eggplant and filled it with hot sauce and nickels.
And amazingly, it's not a weird sex thing. 99% of all new human behaviors are weird sex things, but not in this. Oh, no, it is a weird sex thing. Yeah. Well, then we zip that over to the relevant department.
So they now examine the action.
Correct. And you end up with this. And here is why tampering is impossible, because this score is then double-checked by 3 billion other accountants, and if they all come to the same conclusion, which they always do, it makes this official. Anyone who does this same action in the exact same way loses this many points. Every action by every human on Earth.
Do you think these two ampules contain the same type of brown gas? And what about this?
This is Tianyan, meaning eye of heaven or sky eye. It is China's fast radio telescope with the world's largest single dish measuring 500 meters. Located in a deep depression in southwest China's Guizhou province, the telescope is 8 years old. Its job is searching for radio-emitting stars.
As some of you may know, this is called the...
Every action...
Yeah. Do you think these two...
These goats got so addicted to human urine, they started attacking humans for it. In the 1920s, hunters brought 12 of these mountain goats to Washington's Olympic National Park, an area they're not native to, and they quickly procreated. A lot of problems stem from that, but one is that the park didn't have natural salt deposits, which the goats need. But Olympic National Park does have millions of hikers every year that often have to relieve themselves off a trail. So the goats, craving the salt found in human sweat and urine, have come to see humans as delicious walking salt licks, but they can get aggressive. So aggressive, they actually took the life of one hiker in 2010. So a relocation effort was launched where the goats were sedated, airlifted off the mountain, and moved 70 miles to a more natural habitat. These goats got so addicted to human urine, they started attacking humans for it. In the 1920s,
1 gram of the most expensive substance on Earth goes for $62.5 trillion. To give some context,
unbelievable. The inventor of the soil aerator.
Did you know in Terminator 2 Judgment Day, James Cameron revealed that filming the scene where the T-800 lifts the baby took over 17 takes to get right. The process was challenging because in some shots, the baby would unintentionally touch Arnold Schwarzenegger's face.
It was tough to maintain that serious stoic.
Fun fact. Police in India.
When this girl loaded her towels and blankets into the washing machine, she was shocked when she noticed the machine was stuck with only 7 minutes remaining.
It's been on 7 for like the past 3 minutes. It has. It's not moved.
Looks
a 147
story just came out. His 4-year-old daughter was allegedly.
Like, it stops, and the other one goes out at about the same speed because it reaches about the same height. And exchange, if I pull them out, then they come in and they exchange process.
But the idea here is if you...
The world's largest dry cargo ship, MS Bergestall.
A meter-long metal rod impaled a man's head during a car accident in 2018. Now, the rod pierced through his skull, entering just above his eye and exiting through the side of his head. And miraculously, it missed vital areas of the brain and major blood vessels, sparing his life. The operation was delicate and lasted several hours, but they successfully removed the rod without further damage, and the man ended up living.
Let's imagine there's these really bad documents that Walmart has where they know something bad is happening. In the lawsuit that you file, you get those documents and you learn all about them. They're terrible. Walmart's doing terrible, terrible things. And now you have it on this piece of paper. That document is almost certainly produced on a confidential basis. You can't go to 60 Minutes and show them the document. You can't tell your friend Sue about the document. Sometimes there are documents that are attorney's eyes only, where lawyers, we get documents and we can't even show them to our own clients. Some documents are reviewed in camera. In camera means in the judge's chambers, where the judge could be the only person to review the documents and decide who gets to see them. The documents within the case can be confidential. Let's imagine there's...
Nobody move unless you want your head off. Please don't shoot me. I'll give you however much you want. Whoa. You think I want money? You think that's what this is about? A big angry man comes walking in waving a gun and you assume he's robbing the place? I ain't looking for no god handout. I'm looking for a mother job. Excuse me? You heard me? A mother job.
85% of the gravity of the universe has no known origin. So we call it dark matter, but we don't know what it is. We don't even know if it's matter. We measure that. We didn't pull that out of our ass. We measure.
All right, so this is one of the most significant updates as far as drone warfare is concerned that most people are probably not aware of right now. So this is a picture. These are all pictures of captured Russian drones that are being controlled with fiber optic cables instead of through wireless communication devices. And the thing about this that makes this so deadly and so scary is the fact that you can't jam that. You can't jam that with any type of electronic warfare jamming device. Like, there's no jamming device for this because it's a direct link from the controller to the drone itself. And this was recently captured by Ukrainian forces. Apparently they refer to it as a Vandal. Obviously you have to be significantly closer because it's being controlled by a cable. So that puts
into the bushes. Oh!
This fascinating video captures a duel between a Russian Ka-52 attack helicopter and a British Starstreak air defense missile. The helicopter locks onto its target and fires a Vickers missile to make...
This is my pet cat, Raptor. He knows his name and comes when he's called. He's actually a monitor lizard.
Ow!
Monitor lizard.
A wild new study came out about the batteries in electric vehicles and how they hold up over time, and I honestly did not.
The law right here is about to surprise you.
Lawyer's reaction.
The Fifth Amendment of the Constitution of the United
After a drunken man sucker punched a journalist on live television, people were furious when he.
Imagine waking up one day and suddenly your voice.
Did you know that you're exposed to more radiation on an airplane?
I hacked into the cellular provider in Los Angeles that serviced the FBI cell phone numbers of the agents that were chasing me. And then by hacking into the cellular provider, I could monitor where they physically were. I could also monitor who they were calling and who was calling them. So based on my traffic analysis and my location data, I was able to find out if the feds ever got close. And then one time they did. I had an early warning system set up in 1992 when I was working as a private investigator in Los Angeles. When the warning system was tripped off, I found out that the FBI was actually at my apartment, and I was a mile away in Calabasas. But I just drove in from the apartment to work. So obviously they weren't there to arrest me, and I didn't think if they were still near my apartment that it was to surveil me. So the only logical thing is that they were there to conduct a search. That means to get a search warrant. So the very next day, that evening, I cleaned up everything from my apartment that the FBI may be interested in. And then the very next day, I went out to Winchell's Donuts and got a big dozen assorted donuts, and I labeled the box FBI Donuts, and I put it in the refrigerator. So when they were going to come search, the only thing they would find is I had some donuts for them.
We've got a shitty situation on our hands. The homeowner has been here her entire life, and even when she was living with her parents, she does not remember them ever having this tank pumped out. Just by looking at the tank lid, I'm going to assume this tank was installed in the early 80s, so that's going on 40 years. It was never pumped out. The lid was pretty much glued to the tank, so we had to force it off with a rock bar, and you can see a turd muffin erupting out of the septic tank. It's not supposed to do that if you're not aware. In Texas, it's recommended that septic tanks are pumped out anywhere from 3 to 5 years, so this tank is about 35 years overdue. It was believed for the longest time, and still is in a lot of cases, that septic tanks never needed to be pumped out if they were installed correctly. Now we're following up on all of those cases, just like this one, and having to report the unfortunate news that the septic system has failed. And instead of spending $450 for a routine septic pump out, they're looking at spending tens of thousands on a replacement. I don't find joy in these situations, especially with how tight money has become lately. That's why I stress how important preventative maintenance is before you end up in a situation like this. We've got a shitty situation.
The Mary Celeste is a famous ghost ship, discovered adrift in the Atlantic Ocean in.
This might tell you how bad the real estate market is in China. A homeowner in 2021 listed his home for about 2.1 million yuan, or 300,000 US dollars. Then over the next 3 years, he subsequently lowered the prices one round after another until it went down to 590,000 or just 83,000 US dollars, and it was sold. Yeah, that's a 28% price cut. Now, for context, in the 2008 financial crisis, home prices in the US dropped down to anywhere, 20 to 30%. And in China, it's not even declared a.
I didn't know it was possible to offend a hot dog.
Five surprising facts about book reading.
The Zod tank, also known as the...
Got this package here.
Okay, a nice slim package. Oh, it's a very small thing. 1, 2, 3. What is this? It's a rock.
It's a piece of trinitite from the very first nuclear explosion.
What?
Have you ever wondered how hollow plastic items are made? Most modern hollow plastics today are created using a blow molding machine. The process
Am I the only one that didn't know how a digital worm almost triggered a global crisis? Buckle up. In 2010...
This little robotic elephant is made out.
So in March of 2019, a man by the name of Jeff Smith was driving down a trail in Massachusetts when he crashed into an Army Black Hawk helicopter that was parked on the trail. He then proceeded to sue the army for $10 million in damages. He nearly lost his life, to be fair, but in any case, a U.S. district judge just awarded.
All right. All right. Gotta go.